Welcome to the YellBro. I am Jordan, and today we're going to react to Briahna Joy Gray sitting down with Contrapoints and doing an interview podcast questioning. But first, don't forget to share support. Hopefully, donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. We're in that Discord right now. All opinions are welcome, and obviously, everything I show you, which is just this video, honestly, it'll be linked so you can watch it yourself and yada yada. You know the fucking deal. All right. All right, so in terms of this person Contrapoints, what I understand is that she is almost Democrat Party-ish. Like, she's probably even, like, less extreme than Hassan Piker, right? Who's, like, kind of considered, like, like a, whatever, mediocre version of what people call, the left. He's like a softer version of that, and then she's an even softer version of Hassan Piker, as far as I understand. So thus, it's going to be interesting to hear Briahna Joy Gray question her on her ideas, going forward. Now, Dubster had a question. Go ahead.
Well, my question was going to be how far to the left is Briahna Greyjoy?
Well, Briahna Joy Gray. Okay, don't you
Candace Owens.
don't you Lee Oswald Harvey this? Okay.
See, what did you say her name was one more time?
Briahna Joy Gray.
Okay.
It's not Lee Oswald Harvey. Okay.
Briahna Joy Gray.
There you go. But you're asking if she's what? How far left? You're kind of asking, or right?
Compared to the two people you mentioned, this person on the screen and Hassan Piker.
It depends. I would okay. If you're coming from a Jimmy Dore fandom to now, right? You'd call her further left than Hassan Piker. If you're coming from more of the, textbook academia, I read Lenin people, I think it'd still be Briahna Joy Gray. I think it'd still be her when it comes to that spectrum. Now, more importantly, in my opinion at least, is like, oh, well, who's legit and who's full of shit, right? Now, Hassan to me is, I'd call him full of shit. For what reason? I can't say if it's just pure stupidity or pure strategy, or if it's like straight up like you're paid to like do this for a living. You're paid to fuck people over and twist and mangle ideologies to get people to shuffle towards a certain political party. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it's worth questioning for sure.
He's doing campaign runs right now, so
yes, he is. But I have to leave room for the possibility that he actually believes that, hey, boosting up the Democratic Party might be a strategy in his mind, which is still stupid and full of shit to me. But he could honestly like be doing that, right? Contrapoints, I'm less aware of, less knowledgeable about, but what I've heard is some of her takes are basically like the quote unquote liberal thing, right? The almost Democratic Party, but kinda maybe Bernie Sanders or AOC style thing, potentially there. Then you have Briahna Joy Gray. I've heard some of the arguments. I can't say I know, just like with anyone else. I can't say I know, but I see potential signs of doing the strategy thing, but more in a lane of like something a little bit more. Not the word extreme is not the right word, I don't think, but like, damn, more outside the normal lens, if that makes sense. And someone can mean well and do that, right? They could be a strategist in that arena, right? And they see Hassan Piker, they see this lady here, and they're like, you know what? You're like, listen, you guys are not. I see what you're aiming towards. You're aiming towards like mediocrity. You're aiming towards lame. You're aiming towards the same old shit we've had year after year after year. So thus, I will take my strategy and use it in this lane over here, which will be the more correct position, and probably in Briahna Joy Gray's mind, or potentially, right? Once again, Any of these people can be full of shit, for all I know. I have no clue. But, you know, I'll be fair and give them room for in that sake, and then also listen to their ideas. But there's always an IQ test hiding around the corner to where we'll find out, in my opinion at least. Or I feel like I'll find out when it comes to Briahna Joy Gray, like, oh, is she full of shit or not? I don't know. Maybe she's doing things for the audience, but maybe the idea of getting an audience is for the sake of political strategy, right? I get a bigger audience. I can tell them to vote this way, so thus I'm winning politically. I don't know yet. The jury's still out. But either way, we'll listen to this video. I'm very curious. It's gonna be a marathon. There's no closed caption yet. Actually, let me refresh. Maybe there's a closed caption now after this. Let's see. Yes, there is.
Is there something else
Yes, there's closed caption now.
that I missed?
But this is like an intro, so I have to skip it.
Talk-
All right.
Where identifies
Is the admission
is a moral.
to. So I'm
Okay. Let's go from here. Here's Briahna Joy Gray and Contrapoints arguing politics.
What's the name of their video?
The left only wants to endlessly critique power. Question mark. With Contrapoints. Here we go.
To stop Donald Trump.
so.
It's
What
pretty
does that
low.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh no, I can already tell where it's
So
going.
I'm here with Natalie Wynn,
The point is to
aka
stop Donald.
Contrapoints, who is one of the biggest and most prolific, and I think most efficacious video essayists on the left in
What the
red
fuck is
tube. I don't
she
know if
saying?
you embrace that term.
I
But it's
Video
condemned
essay
to-
person.
you
very
condemn the term
effective.
red tube. Why is that?
Well, I had never thought it made any
Efficacious.
sense. Like,
Just make
it up a word.
the phrase
No,
bread
that's
tube
a
is a
real word.
reference
It
to the
means just
conquest
being
of
effective.
bread, an anarchist book. I'm not an anarchist. I don't know why this like framing has been imposed on, but you know, it is what it is. You don't get to choose these things.
How do you identify politically?
I identify as like a left liberal at this stage.
I'm sorry, that's
That's
just
liberal.
I had to stop it because that's hilarious. Because Contrapoints is trans, right? Like, how do you identify politically? So it's like, I don't know, I just found that funny to me. But all right, here we go.
But you know, it is what it is. You don't get to choose these things.
How do you identify politically?
I identify as like a left liberal at this stage. Is how I would describe
Left
myself.
liberal.
I would say that I'm aligned with like the left wing.
Why
of
not think bigger
the
than
Democratic
that? Why
Party?
not be,
Like AOC.
what's her name? Natalie?
of
Why not be
politics.
Natalie?
Well,
Or be
AOC, at least
Contrapoints.
at one point in her life, self-described as a socialist or a democratic socialist. At
That's
least,
right.
did she not?
Yes, that's right.
Would you define yourself that way as well?
I think I would at one time also have. I think now I would say I'm probably more of a social democrat. But for me, my attitude towards politics is very not, well, it's very non-philosophical in a way, because I feel that I react to the situation that I'm in. So I think that, you know, am I a social democrat in the sense that I think capitalism is like this
So you're a
amazing system?
follower,
Like, no,
right?
not really. I just think that social democracy is like the most plausible path to improving what we have. If I like found myself in, I don't know, a Stalinist country, I probably would not be advocating capitalist revolution. I would be advocating like, you know, well, I don't know, some kind of like Dengist reforms or something.
So, I mean, from my perspective, you know, as someone who's obviously
Genghis Khan reform? Is that
been a
what you meant?
witness to some of the backlash and at least your career over the last, 5 or 6 years when I've been more plugged into the online left. It does feel sometimes like some of the pushback you get is because there's a gap in your perceived sort of identification or self-identification, at least at one point, in some of the political stances that you take maybe in a post-2020 world. Does that feel right to you?
Yeah, I do think that there is like a definite proportion of the backlash that I receive that's based on a kind of misreading of me as being sort of having always been more radical than I really was. I mean, I think that part of it is like the aesthetic of what because I started out
Sorry,
doing,
YouTube.
I'm like this like transgender YouTuber who is making videos about how fascism is bad. This is very like communist coded behavior, at least on in like internet culture, right? Like is the, if you're a trans person on the internet, you're complaining about Nazis all day, you're probably a communist, right? And that's true. You are probably a communist if you fit that description. Um, I mean, I think that I kind of did have a more so I mean in 20 I used to be quite centrist in that like in 2016 I think I was like a Hillary Clinton supporter in the 2016
Oh
primary
fuck.
for the reason that I thought that she was more viable than Bernie Sanders.
Uh,
Then she lost.
uh.
And I think that did prompt me
You're
to
losing your lefty
rethink a
card
little bit
right
what was
there for a lot
possible,
of people.
combined with the fact that Donald Trump at the time seemed like this kind of crackpot candidate who how could a serious country elect a person like this, right? Well, joke's on me. But
Well, that means you weren't listening to the ideas that were being said. Once again, Trump is a full shit artist, but the words he was saying, I get why people were attracted to it. I fully understand that. That means you weren't, it wasn't eyes open, ears open, Contrapoints. You were just fucking person, woman of the times. You're as good as the world around you. And I guess the world around you was a bunch of, let's be real, lame, Democrat thinking, liberal motherfuckers. There's no like real thinkers around you, and you weren't a real thinker yourself. You should like, you know what? I need to stop talking about politics. Let me go back. Let me like observe. Like, how did I fuck this up so badly? What happened here? But instead, she's not going to do that. Obviously, she's going to continue on with her YouTube career, just like they all fucking do, and pretend like nothing happened. Meanwhile, that's a major blight on your record, right? Like just on the idea of like you calling yourself the left, it's a smudge on your fucking record right there. Hillary fucking Clinton. Once again, I get why people supported Bernie Sanders. I get why.
Let me ask this.
I
Let
get
me
why
ask
with
this.
Trump. Hold on, real fast. I get why Bernie. I get why Trump. But Hillary fucking Clinton. Did that make sense to like on a like? Did that make sense to anyone? Like, I don't think so. For me, at least, when it comes to like idea of morals and righteousness and trying to make the world a better place. How the fuck is Hillary Clinton was a pick back in 2015, 16, that time period? But go ahead. Sorry.
What do you think someone calling themselves on the quote unquote left, as if it's like something separate from Democrats, would have thought about the 2012 election, Obama versus McCain?
That's Romney. You mean 2008? Or it's Obama versus McCain?
2012, whichever one it was.
That's Mitt Romney's against Obama.
Okay.
They'd pick Obama. And if you're the mindset of typical politics and lesser evils, I understand why someone would do that, but at the same time, it's like you can't say you're about these morals right here. You have to abandon your morals and then go vote for Obama, right? Versus like someone who didn't have a chance yet, like a Bernie Sanders or a Donald Trump in 2015, 16, right? It's like, man, these guys are saying things that I never really heard before in politics, right? Or sorry, on the main stage in politics. So thus, I get why people like took a chance, took a leap. Like, hey, maybe this guy's the real deal. Let me go vote for him. Let me go support him, or let me pay attention to him. Right? I get why. But after they have their run, you can see what the fuck they're about. Then it changes. That should be like IQ test shit, which is what Hillary was. Right? She was already Secretary of State, right? And had all these years in politics, and she was a batshit choice for anyone. I think. Uh, Contrapoints as a trans person, Hillary was against gay marriage for like ever until like a certain amount of years ago, right? When it became like politically convenient to be against or be with gay marriage or be okay with it, right? So it's like, how the fuck is Hillary your choice, sir? How? Maybe the idea is like, okay, maybe she can win, and Donald Trump is so bad that, you know what? I'll support Hillary. Now, people that
What
thought,
does
God,
Would this person say Bernie Sanders wasn't viable according to Contra?
It's kind of a riddle actually politically, because he was in a position to win, which makes him viable on that alone,
No,
right?
no, but what Contra said.
No. I think what she's saying is that I don't think he was like, oh, he's not going to win, or that, and also
I think he said viable, meaning could win.
against Trump, or the idea of
That
like
election, just
I think she's talking
I
about the
think
primary,
that's what Contra just,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think she said Bernie wasn't viable, so she was good with Hillary.
Yeah, that would be bullshit on both levels, whether it's the general election or even the primary. Who the fuck heard of Bernie Sanders before that election run? And no one fucking knew who the fuck that guy was. Let's just be
Right.
honest.
Vermont didn't know who the fuck Bernie Sanders was.
Yeah, so thus he was extremely viable. He was extremely viable that he got where he got. And thus, if they all said, you know what, we're all going with Bernie, he'd be the winner. I mean, there was some cheating going on too as well, but still. And Contrapoints answers are just lame as fuck in regards to that. Like, there was no, like, apparently she didn't really do like a full blown analysis or diagnosis of what happened in that scenario. And that was your only, when it comes to Hillary and Bernie, if you want to vote Democrat, no matter what, if you're that personality type, guess what? Bernie was your only. He wasn't just not just viable. He was the only option to actually take Trump down, like, because he was the outsider populist character that Trump was on the right. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
So
if you go back 10 seconds, within 10 seconds backwards,
yeah,
that's where she said that.
Okay. Well, I'll play it from there and just let it play out, but because this is gonna be a marathon, it's gonna be a long video. It is what it is. But yeah, it's like, man, why not do a fucking autopsy of your past fuck ups? Why not do that, guys? Whether it's political or personal, whatever the fuck. Like, shouldn't we like try to understand, like, man, how did I get this wrong? I mean, like, do that, but let's play. Here we go.
Was possible, combined with the fact that Donald Trump at the time seemed like this kind of crackpot candidate,
Yeah, I'll back up a little bit more.
More viable than Bernie Sanders. I used to be quite centrist in that, like, in 2016, I think I was initially I was like a Hillary Clinton supporter in the 2016 primary.
All the way. Got it.
For the reason that I thought that she was more viable than Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how she lost.
Said it. Okay.
And I think that did prompt me to rethink a little bit what was possible. Combined with the fact that Donald Trump at the time seemed like this kind of crackpot candidate who
he looked like a revolutionary to many people's eyes.
A person like this, right? Well, joke's on me. But like, I think that did make me open-minded to, like, well, like, maybe like it is time to consider it, because I had
Forgive me. One more time pausing. The fact that she doesn't grasp what was happening in that time, like, you were so, what is Seb's called? Like brunchers, like brunch liberal types, right? who have their, mimosas at brunch type of shit, like relaxing in life because they're already rich or whatever the fuck's going on, right? Versus like, were you actually paying attention? I see exactly why fucking Trump got momentum. I see it because he was there to, like, the campaign he ran was, talking points was mainly internet based. Was, hey, here comes a revolution. Here comes a changeover from the corrupt to the do-gooders or the well-meaning people. That was the concept. That was the idea. How did you miss that? Unless you weren't actually paying attention, but you use your platform to still move in a direction politically without even knowing about it. Thus, like, holy fuck, what an idiot. What a dummy for that. Now, is she going to look back at herself and be like, man, how did I fuck up? Is she going to examine how fucking lost she was? Is she going to actually look at that shit? Or is it just move on like nothing happened? Now it's a play. There we go. I'll try to shut up, guys. Sorry.
I had campaigned for Obama in 2012. And so my experience was like talking to these like median voters in like Ashburn, Virginia or whatever, and like the amount of effort needed to convince them that actually giving people access to healthcare, even if they have a pre-existing condition, did not amount to a totalitarian Islamic socialist takeover of the government. Like it made me think like, okay, everyone just hates the word socialism so much. Like, what
Obama
about it?
used Mitt
But
Romney's
then
health care plan, just
I
so
don't know.
everyone
I guess
knows.
I questioned
And she
if
still doesn't
maybe
know that somehow.
that was. So I think it was. I think I was experimenting a bit more in that era, and also I did get audience captured
Briahna
somewhat. I
should
think because I
carve
had
her
a
up
much more
like a
leftist
turkey.
audience, but
Just
I
carve
think
her
we
the fuck
clashed
up.
over
It should be
that over
easy.
my like.
Sorry, guys.
I suppose like more pragmatic, moderate stances on things.
Yeah, pragmatic. Yeah, sure.
I wanna come back to this issue of
Make the world
pragmatism,
burn.
but
Pragmatic.
I want to say that on some level, I empathize with having the notion, especially coming, as someone who's, part of a marginalized group whose interests don't necessarily drive politics and sometimes drive people away from my politics, right?
Yeah.
That I remember in 2007 being asked by like an adult, coming straight out of college, asked by an adult, who I supported in the primary, not really knowing anything about Barack Obama and kind of having the knee jerk reaction that I should say Clinton because I would be perceived as doing wish casting if I said Obama, or it was expected because I'm black that I would say Obama, and that it was so unlikely that I seemed like the pragmatic person to say Hillary Clinton. And then I had a similar experience over the course, of the primary when Hillary Clinton revealed herself in various ways and frankly actively talked me out of her support. And then by the time 2016 came around, and I also wanted to validate that.
You first find out. I get it.
Many black voters did not think that Barack Obama could win and did not align behind him until after he had won Iowa and demonstrated his viability with white voters, right? So like, I think there's something very relatable about your approach. I think the question people have is, once this lesson was learned in 2016, that who we were told was electable wasn't who was actually electable. And that there was this appetite in the country for somebody that was more radical, that was more anti-establishment in the form of Donald Trump. And that there was this phenomenon of the Bernie to Trump voter where those same Trump voters would have been interested in someone like Bernie Sanders, who didn't just, talk about healthcare the way that Obama did, but did so in a much more radical way, in a way that was thought to be somehow alienating to the public, but which was in fact populist. If that lesson was learned,
it was maybe like that's what Barack Obama kind of projected it as like this is like some essentially pie in the sky alien idea. Although he had the majority in the House and the Congress, he still didn't push forward a certain healthcare bill that people wanted, like regular people that voted for him probably wanted, right? But he kind of made it like, oh no, it's not realistic. You can't do this. And then the Bernie character shows up.
I think he straight up said that in a speech, didn't he?
Well, he uses the excuse of we need to work with Republicans. We want to work with those guys. So thus you put down a bill that can be ran over, or even the bill itself is dog shit in the first place in regards to like what people actually wanted. You have a watered down dog shit bill, and thus the Republicans have room to like tear it down, probably build up certain parts and tear down other parts, on and so forth. And you end up in the same quagmire of, hey, people are still not being covered the way you would hope they'd be covered in one of the richest nations, if not the richest nation on the planet. So like people get confused by that, and I think that's on purpose. But then Bernie Sanders he walks in, right? And it's like, no, I have an idea, I have a plan. Go to my website. Here's every detail of how you pay for it, how you do it, how you implement it, on and so forth. He had all that laid out. All of it laid out.
Where it was going to cost $4 trillion.
No.
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You read the bill? I didn't know you read the documentation. Did you?
Yeah. It was presented and broken down. What was it? What's the young guy on Fox?
On Fox, huh? That's her. I'll be honest.
Waters.
Jesse Waters. Okay.
He put it on. Yeah, he put it on the screen, and he broke it down, and it turned out to be cost $4 trillion in 4 years.
I'm gonna be honest with you, those guys probably lied to you. And the audience, whoever was listening, they lied to them. I'm gonna be very honest with you. They probably lied to them. On purpose, right? Because
Put it
they
on the
don't
script.
want you to have Dubster. Jesse Waters, when he's talking to you, he doesn't want you to have fucking healthcare. I almost guarantee that. Or he doesn't care about it, right? And his bosses say they don't want that, right? So he'll follow the script in the program and find a way to lie to you to tell you that you don't deserve healthcare. They do that, right? Just like you need to go to war with Iran, they'll also say you don't need healthcare. You don't need that shit. They'll do the same thing, right? It is what it is. Like they do that. And I did sift through the documentation, and how you pay for it was nothing out of your pocket, Dubster, or my pocket.
That's not possible. But whatever.
That's extremely possible. We already pay for Medicare.
But
How come you're not complaining about Medicare then, right now?
I do complain about it because I do pay for it.
Okay. But if he
It comes out of my fucking taxes every fucking year.
But if Bernie Sanders changes the tax brackets around, or an idea like that changes the tax brackets, you're not really paying too much into it, man, at all. I don't think you are at all, honestly.
I am paying.
You
Just
know,
like you are.
Well, actually, you know what one of his ideas was free college, right? Free state college for everyone, right? He's going to tax a penny on the dollar out of all speculation going in and out of Wall Street, and that would have paid for college for everyone in the country. It's that there's that much money being used, right? Which means it wouldn't come out of your pocket unless you're a speculator.
How is he gonna tell the Federal Reserve to add a tax to something they fully control, because that's who makes the money off of
They don't control
the
taxes.
penny
So.
chain. They control the Wall Street's
No.
what is it? It's a penny or something that comes off every transaction or whatever, to where it's like $12 billion. It's an extreme amount of money within a very short amount of time frame.
Yeah.
Federal Reserve controls that. How's Bernie Sanders going to control the Federal Reserve when the Federal Reserve says, "Oh, you can't fire me"?
Why do you need to fire them? Just tax them. I don't get it.
They've got written into their thing they're not taxable.
You could just write that they're now taxable. But it's not even.
Who cares about fucking taxes?
It's not even Federal Reserve. You just tax You just tax Wall Street and their transactions. A penny on the dollar.
Their transactions is the Federal Reserve's control.
Okay, but I think you're making leaps versus being like what's there on the surface. I think you can tax them a penny per speculation. I think that works, or a penny on the dollar of speculation, and I mean consume a large amount of funds from that.
Well, it depends on what he means by speculation. Like, could we just, in what we call speculation, call it something else? There'd be a way they get out of it.
Just
That's
say
all I'm
use the
getting
word transact. Okay, fair enough, but that'd be another route that'd be another thing to look at, I guess, after the fact. But and probably, let's be honest, probably thought out already. I considered, meaning like, yeah, Federal Reserve, you're your own thing over there. Go ahead, do your thing. But guess what? If you engage in Wall Street, it'll be taxed penny on a dollar.
This segues into something I just read about a week ago. Congress just passed a rule that no member of Congress, Senate or House, no, it was just the Senate. The House hasn't agreed yet. So the Senate cannot have any members of the Senate in the predictive markets.
Yeah,
which means
poly market.
No.
Yeah, it's a very specific market. It doesn't cover all of things that are like stocks.
It's
just what they classify as predictive market.
Yeah, it's pop culture.
Like,
it's pop culture to make people think that they're doing something, right? You throw out a pop culture topic, and then you do something about it in a way, and you say, "See, look, guys, we're working. See, There's a reason why you pay us and give us
Right.
free healthcare and give us this and give us that.
It's the thing that we're barely in the sense of them investing.
Yeah, it's
They do differently 95% of the time, a different way of what do we call it? What do you call it when you know what's going to happen in the stock before it happens?
insider trading. You mean that?
They do their insider trading in something else besides the quote unquote predictive markets.
Yeah, and even if you made a rule about that, they'll find a way around it too. Like it is what the rules almost mean nothing because of the characters that are occupying these spaces. It is what it is, right? But yeah, once again, well, whatever.
But okay,
Let's
that's
keep
what
going.
Bernie was pitching. I got you. It's what Bernie was saying was the plans.
Yeah, and when people heard that on a main level and him and his team made it make sense, and the influencers on the internet made it make sense. Why wouldn't people be like, yeah, let's get that? So thus, it's just like, once again, obvious answers kind of win you things by just being like obvious as like, this people would like this. Let's just go that direction. But what typically happens is subversion, right? The Democratic Party's subversion was the same as the Republican Party's subversion, which would be scary for the audience. But some people bought into one team or another and said, "Oh, well, that's a road towards communism or socialism, so thus we need to stop that right there." But meanwhile, it was their own healthcare at stake, and they might have fucked themselves without even realizing they fucked themselves. Just like the UK, right? I'm not here bragging about the NHS at all, but the idea of it, okay, fine. Right? Maybe you'd agree or disagree, but there's no way you can agree with shady hands getting their hands on the NHS and trying to rip it apart so that they can charge you money for healthcare. There's no way you can agree with that, right? You can agree with private healthcare. Fine. You can make your arguments in that direction. Fair enough. But you can't agree with someone doing some sort of subversion to stop you from having this other version of healthcare. Right? That's where it gets like creepy. Okay, now it's like corruption. But people didn't see it as that. They saw it. They were in the 2016 vibe, and they're like, "Yo, we need to get rid of this shit." Right? Not even based on reason or their own thoughts, but actually just borrowed from like a Jesse Waters on TV, a British version of Jesse Waters on TV, saying, "No, we need this to happen. Let it happen, please." Millionaires protecting billionaires. Right? That's kind of an old story that gets put on repeat. But all right, let's hit play on this. Let's keep hearing because there's a lot more topic here to go. It's just already showing me that Contrapoints from nobody to fame did not learn any lessons on the way there. It's just kind of just floating through life. But I'm like, good for her, fine, good for her. But don't come out here and telling us what we should do politically when you're an ignoramus like that. Unless you smarten up, right? But here we go. Find out.
In 2016, I guess the question people have is what caused you to sort of move back to this idea that a more centrist pragmatism or incrementalism was going to be a more electable and politically viable route?
Well, I think part of it is
Harrison, you're
so
gonna
in
get rolled in
2020,
music later, just so
I
you know.
supported Bernie Sanders in the primary.
Yeah, I remember. We
and-
talked about it on the show, I think.
Oh, we maybe did. Okay, so it hasn't been 10 years. Okay, but yeah, Biden won fairly decisively, both in the primary and the general election, which seemed like a kind of step back
There's questions about
from
the
the
primary,
edge
yeah.
to me. So I think that kind of pushed me in a more moderate direction. Also, as a result of, I think, clashing with people who were abstainers, I felt that because I've always seen Donald Trump as very menacing, as a nightmarish presence in American politics, who
So is
I am
Biden.
willing to resist by any means necessary, essentially.
Let
And
me know when you're ready to pause.
so I think that
You tell
I
me
got
then.
frustrated
Pause the video.
with the opposition to voting for Biden. And then in 2024, I think my frustration increased. And I feel like now I mean, I see the second Trump administration as being like even worse than the first, which I thought it would be. Um, so I feel like fairly
More
disillusioned
overt. I'll say that, not
with
worse, but
any kind
overt.
of like larger ideological project. I mean, I guess we could probably spend all day litigating like why exactly Kamala Harris lost in 2024 by the margins that she did. But the way I
It's because she sucks
diagnose it
ass. That's why.
is largely that like voters
These
moved
people
to the
that you
right.
watch that bitch about Trump, that bitch about
So
any
it
president
has me
that
feel
they've lived under, they've never had a decent president in their entire life. They don't know what a decent president is because we never had one. And I'm almost 50, and I've never had a decent president in my lifetime, except for maybe Reagan and
Reagan
Bill
was
Clinton's
terrible
first
too.
term.
So was Bill Clinton. They're both horrible too.
No, that's it. That's as good as we got. Reagan's first term and Clinton's first term. Everything else was shit. Guaranteed.
Those guys were shit too. You just didn't know about how shit they were, unfortunately.
I just
But
find
I
it
agree.
funny that she said, I voted for Hillary in 2016, and then when Biden won in 2020, I guess that brought me back to being a moderate.
I'm just saying, all these people we watch, they have no
She
basis
makes no
for
sense.
comparison because all our presidents have been shit. All of them.
Yeah.
You have to go back
by your
100 years.
By your classification, how is voting for Hillary in 2016 and then coming to 2020 voting for Biden coming back to moderate?
Because
How's
they,
that?
I don't
Coming
listen to
back
anything
to
a woman
moderate.
has to say about politics because they're fucking idiots. Okay, they don't know politics. They shouldn't be politicians themselves. They need to they need to hang
That's
it
a
up.
dude
holy
here.
They're done.
fuck. Holy fuck.
That's a dude.
I thought you were
here.
talking about this. I thought you were talking about Blondie over here. I don't know. Who are you talking about?
The blonde is a dude.
That's a dude. Oh, that's fucking
That's a
stupid.
dude.
You know what I mean?
I'm dealing with fucking idiots here. Holy shit. Lord, help me. Don't worry, I got it though, Lord. Lord, I got it. All right, that was a joke, Lord. I got it. Anyways, yeah. Well, she was saying like, okay, Biden brought me off, or the Biden thing, like, it brought us off the edge. But if you look at Trump's first term, relative to other presidencies, it's the same as they were. No major differences, really, at all. No major differences other than like rhetoric. Slight policy changes here or there. But when it comes to the desecration, like the darkest parts of American politics, like what these people do, yeah, that was still constant. It's still a thing there. So with Biden or Trump or anyone, those constant kind of like very dark ideas where you're like, hey, innocent people, blow them up. That's still there. That's still the normality of politics. Right now, what Trump's doing is overtly, like PR wise, overtly doing it. But it was already being done under Biden, under Trump, under Obama, under Clinton, under Bush Senior, under Reagan, keep going, Jimmy Carter. These things are already quite present, quite present. Just not talked about as much, right?
What I'm saying, she said, I voted for Hillary in 2016, and and then in 2020 when Biden won, well, that brought me back to moderate. So when did she leave being moderate? That's what I'm kind of saying. For the classification you give of like establishment Democrat being what's called moderate versus a lefty being further left than the Democratic establishment.
Well, she's talking in the sense of fashion instead of like actuality, like actual ideologies or actual ideas. It seems like the sense of like, I'm a moderate. Now I'm a far lefty. Now I'm on the right. Now I'm this. Now it's like a pin on your fucking coat instead of actuality. That's what it smells like. It smells like brunch, mimosas drinking brunchers talking about the world. Like, man, homelessness is bad as they step over homeless people to go to brunch. That's what it sounds like to me. And it's like, damn. Someone put a tweet out where they're like, yo, I didn't realize how dumb this person was till I heard her talk in long form with questions coming back at her. So thus, there it is. hey guys from 2016, if I said like Contrapoints is like, not that sharp on these ideas, they would have said shut the fuck up. But now they'd be like, all right, yeah, sure. And that's a sad thing when people can't see what's happening in front of their eyes in real fucking time. They don't see it, do they? And that's so unfortunate. It is the bane of individuals' own existences. It really is. Where they just completely misdiagnose a scenario and not learn from misdiagnosing it. Anyone can get something wrong, but like, why wouldn't you like try to learn from getting it wrong? Instead, it's like a burden that doesn't want to happen, right? Like, I don't want to do this burden of correcting how badly I fucked this situation up. I want to keep it moving like it didn't happen. It's like, you can't do that. Not with life. You do that on a screen, right? But you can't do that with life. But all right, let's apply. Here we go.
Probably the way that liberals felt,
I want to make it through this thing.
around in like 1991 or whatever, when you had like almost 12 years of like Reaganism at that point, and it's just like, well, my sense of
1991 Reaganism.
I mean, so the reason why I'm not like a Democratic Party
Reagan and Bush
press
right.
person, right? Because my messaging is not inspiring at all. Like I'm aware of this, and like to be clear, no politician should say the things that I'm saying because they're not inspiring. They're depressing. But that's why I'm not a politician, right?
At least you recognize that. Sam Cedar's trying to find that out
because
himself.
I don't have an inspiring message, and you need like I mean I feel like the politicians that I've seen in my life who have the best messaging are people like Barack Obama and like John Mamdani, who both have this kind of like radiant energy of hope. That is, almost more than any specific
but that's your
policy
feel.
idea.
That's not policy.
It's the kind of vibe.
Right.
That they have.
Horrible policy.
I do not possess this quality at all.
Okay. But that phrase, like almost more than any specific policy idea, I think that's where the rub comes in, and where I see the frustration that some of the left articulates toward you, not just you, but anybody who takes a more, who believes authentically that a more moderate position is the more electable, sort of smarter, politically advantageous one. Because many of us look at Zohran Mamdani and even Barack Obama in 2008, and I would also say Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2020, and say that he was able to, these people were all able to snatch movements out of nowhere, right? Obama was not the likely choice. Senator Sanders didn't even seem to even believe his own campaign was going to have legs when he launched in like the middle of the grass with like 3 cameras around in 2016. And obviously Zohran Mamdani was polling in single digits in a long shot, at least when I interviewed him last February. But I would argue that what propelled all of those individuals into the limelight was not their moderation, but that they stood out among a crowd of moderates who were unwilling to make true criticisms about their own party and the other side, and the ways in which they are often aligned along.
Well, Donnie's not a fucking moderate.
Because of their shared corporate donors. And
someone tell Harrison that he should probably rethink these terms and ideas. Probably rethink them.
No, I agree. Donnie's a commie.
You see, like, you guys have no fucking clue, which is why you struggle so badly at politics.
Well, enlighten us. What would you classify
Motherfucker, he's a self-proclaimed socialist. Jesus Christ. That's not moderate.
Okay. But, well, I don't know. Like, once again, there's him saying things on the campaign trail, then there's his actual policy. So thus have to, like, be patient with that. No matter how many free bus rides or stores he wants. I get what you're saying, Dubster, but you have to be patient, right? You agree or no?
We're not gonna.
Should you be patient for judging things, right?
Well, we can go as it comes, right? One of his policy is I'm not gonna arrest any illegal vendor that's selling food that can poison anyone in New York City. But I am gonna.
That'd be the opposite of.
Hold on. I'm gonna
deregulation, right?
I'm gonna keep enforcing stupid laws on legal vendors such as if they're a foot from the curb, they get $1,000 tickets.
Okay, once again, this is not about him being a good or bad politician. It's does he represent the idea that you guys are proclaiming he is? And my answer is no
Is that
so
not
far.
communist?
Deregulate would not be communist, right?
It's not deregulating. It's
You're saying
literally
allowing a vendor to sell this or that? Is that not deregulation?
No, because it's not deregulation. It is keeping the same regulation on people that went out to go get quote unquote permits. Saying, you know what?
Expanding
if you didn't
the
get
regulation?
a permit, you can sell your food on the same corner as the one that's legal. We're not gonna fuck with you if you're killing people with bad food. But
So
we're gonna fuck with this dude if he's a foot from the curb and he'll get $1,000 ticket for it.
so
So how's
there's
that
more
deregulation?
So there's less necessary, there's less oversight for someone opening a shop up. And you're saying that's not deregulation?
But there's not less. It is their distinction of the permit.
So he's regulating over there, but not regulating over here. Is that what you're saying?
Before he was elected, he's
So
got a
how's that
selfie of
communist?
him playing grab ass
I
with George
don't-
Soros' son. That's as bad as it gets. That's
who
not
am I
moderate.
talking to? What
And-
am I
and at
doing
the
here? Yo, God,
Jordan,
what the
and then-
fuck am I doing here, dude?
Jordan,
Why
and
this
at the same
lifetime?
time, he
Why?
hold on, Jordan. At the same time,
Holy
he passed
shit.
another policy.
I'm
He
fucking-
passed another policy at the same time. I'm gonna open grocery stores ran by the government, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be like extremely cheaper. It's gonna cost the city $40 million. What was the number? $30 million or something to build one of these 5 stores. Okay, so it comes out of the tax roll to build this store. It's gonna be the cashier at the grocery store is gonna be a government employee. The produce section guy is gonna be a government employee, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody in that fucking grocery store is gonna be a government employee.
You
And-
just told me he deregulates certain things. Fuck.
Okay, so
Why not just call him he's corrupt or he's full of shit? Why not just go there? Why does it have to be like a label that you guys run with? I don't get it. Why does it
What
have
is
to,
the
why does it
overall-
have to be communism
is-
for you?
He ran as a Democrat socialist on a Democratic
Oh,
What
ticket.
is
he
the
said words out
overall
loud. Got
if
it.
you combine if you
Holy
if
fuck.
you combine those two
What am I doing
ideas,
here?
what is the
Those are his words,
overall-
not mine.
What am I doing?
He said
here,
it.
dude?
That's not moderate.
if you combine those two policies together, what is the overall scheme? The overall scheme is government good because they're providing you cheaper food, but they're not really. And then at the same time, we're not going to arrest the guys that are giving you poisonous food outside. But we are going to arrest the guys that are giving you
So he's
okay
using-
food outside.
So he's gonna use.
It's a government move of control, which is communism.
Fuck. You were dumb as bricks, my friend. What the life? It's just the fucking Christ.
Bigger
dude.
government.
Leave your
Bigger
fucking
government at
silo.
the end
Go
of the
walk
day.
outside, my friend. Please, I beg you to. Go walk
Bigger
outside.
government at the end of the day. That's what he was proposing.
Got it. Got it. And Trump is not communist, right? Although bigger government is his plan as well. I'm sure he's not government though, or not communist in your idea, right? It's like, yeah, we're dealing with bricks for brains, man. If we're going this direction, that's okay though. That's okay. I'm used to hearing
He has
the
played
num
out-
num dummy.
Trump has played out as bigger government. Yes.
Besides the space
He
force,
was like that
how did he
from
increase the size
day
of the government?
fucking one in the
What
government.
did he add to the
Day
government?
one, he was like that. Is he a communist back then?
He axed a lot of the government. Yes, he axed. He cut USAID. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, it does.
I don't think it's ever going to come back either.
It does exist. You just don't pay attention to things.
They
man.
closed the doors, bro. That building's empty.
It shifted to the State
Are they
Department.
doing it under
you
the table?
butthead. It shifted
I
to the
bet
State
they are, but the Democrats are still getting their kickback somehow. He needs to look into that and that shit too.
Harrison, it shifted to the State Department under Marco Rubio. So yes, USAID still exists in a different form, but like the idea is about like the actual results you see, right? Versus name changes and rebrands and all that, right? It's about like the actual thing that happens, right, guys? Right? So when Mamdani does something that's leaning towards deregulation, you're supposed to call it that, right? Like, hey, look, he's deregulating over here. Not because you want to hardcore want to force like he's a communist, like really like want to dive into that idea. Just like with Trump.
I just broke down how he's straight
just
up
like with
communist.
Trump. Hold on, just like with Trump, when
With
he
two
does
policies.
regulation, when he does government overreach and over regulation, you're supposed to call that the same thing, right? That's how you like figure things out, right? You don't lie to yourself or lie to others. You just, hey, that's what it looks like. There it is. You call it out no matter what, right? Right?
I just told you how it was communist.
So Mamdani is doing deregulation to lead back to hardcore government overreach regulation. That's his point.
Yeah.
Then he's using the thing you want as a tool to get the thing that you don't want.
You don't want fucking poisonous food. Do you want
The idea was about regulation, my friend. Right? Stay on topic.
do you want
Now he's trying to appeal to me.
vendors selling food on the side of the street
This is why we
to
struggle.
not be permitted?
This is why we struggle, my man. Because now you're trying to appeal to me.
Well,
Just
you're
say
asking
what you
me,
think
I'm
it
appealing
is.
to you.
No, say what you think. Like, just say like, oh, I think this is bad, or this guy doesn't mean well, or some sort of bad ideas this guy has. Why not go there? Why do you have to make it about a label?
It is a label, dude. It is a communist plot.
And that's why you look like bricks for brains, man. But don't worry.
Whatever, man.
Yeah,
You
whatever.
think whatever you want.
Not about. It wasn't necessarily about me. I hear what you're saying. You're saying this is bad. In so many words, you're just saying this is bad. I hear that, but you're not saying that, are you? In your words, what you're saying is, well, it's this label thing that I'm saying. Meanwhile, the guys that you prop up are also doing the fucking
playbook bullshit.
But the guys you prop up do the same playbook,
Look,
and you're not realizing that, do you?
They
Are you
aren't
realizing
using
that?
the same playbook.
Yeah, they're using very similar, like, basically the same thing to me. And they're appealing to people. Like, once again, when I say this content creator or that content creator is targeting you, Dubster, that's what I mean, bro. They're targeting you, and you're just like, "Yep, okay." Just like seem like so okay with it when like someone's like trying to fuck your life up, trying to get you to fuck your own life up.
So Mamdani's not a
and you're just
socialist,
with
even
it
though he
somehow.
calls himself
I
a
don't get it.
socialist. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Harrison's still
I
stuck
still say he's
on
not a moderate.
labels.
It's bullshit.
Harrison, you need a cup of tea and biscuits.
Harrison's still stuck on labels and he hasn't even reached.
You need to
No
shut the
offense,
fuck
Dubster,
up. Keir
but
Starmer's a communist
the way
too.
you go about things is very silly to me. And Harrison hasn't even reached that yet. He's still stuck on labels. He's still there, unfortunately. But all right, let's continue. Let's hit play. Actually, let me reset real fast. We'll hit play. The Lord has blessed me. Fuck. I try. Even if people are trolling, I still try. It doesn't bother me to keep trying. But this is where we're at. Let's hit play. Here we go.
Maintaining substantially the status quo. And so that, to me, is what so many of us learned from 2016 and what Bernie's greatest sort of gift and contribution to the political space was. That calling out corporate elites, calling out the Epstein class, calling out super PAC donors, calling out the military-industrial complex is not something that will get you marginalized and sidelined, but in fact will earn the trust of the public at large. What do you say to that argument? That in fact, the people that you were sort of characterizing as successful because of
Briahna went over that, but
the person. I don't want to mischaracterize. You put words in your mouth, but charisma, personality, intangibles, in fact, are popular because it is message driven. It's policy driven.
Well, it's definitely a combination. Like, I don't think you can have any policy and win based on vibes. So, and I agree with what you're saying about like populism is very in at the moment, right? And I do think that type of messaging could succeed. I mean, I see like
could have succeeded
the place
anywhere.
to litigate this will be in the
We got to
primary,
hear it.
right? Like
Well, we didn't get to have one, regrettably,
no,
in
not in
2024.
2024. And I do
And there are
think I do think it's
Go ahead.
reprehensible that Biden did not drop
Rhetoric.
out sooner.
Yeah, shit right
And there are
there.
people who I have to say,
And Gaza, maybe Gaza's a bad thing too. But what's up, Play? Here we go.
I would argue that I know I've heard you and Joshua Citarella recently seem to agree that 2020 was a fair race
That's
and
my
that
point.
the
Not even that.
rigging that happened in 2016 of the Bernie campaign was overstated. But
That's my
it's
position,
worth
yes.
noting,
Sorry, God, I got it.
it's worth noting that people feel very
Got it,
differently, and even centrists like Jake Tapper, in his book with Alex Thompson, readily acknowledge that 2016 was rigged. That there was a call that went out that had all the candidates drop out after Biden had failed to win the first 4 contests, and circle the wagons around South Carolina. That, of course.
Chris, she means 2020, not the 2016 one. In 2020,
Yeah,
that's when that happened, and
yeah.
Obama made the phone call in the back rooms to say, "Hey, boost this guy up, shut this person down." That's what
Well,
happened.
coin flip till it's right.
No, even that one was Buttigieg.
That was 2020.
Yeah, but he told himself. Buttigieg announced that he was the winner when he actually wasn't. And then South Carolina happened,
whatever-
and then that's when Biden took over. Biden was not in the race at all. He was not the winner. He wasn't even close, I don't think, to the top in the
No,
4
but the coin
caucuses.
flip-
And then South Carolina happened.
The coin flip we watched in Iowa between Bernie Sanders and was a butt plug.
Yes, they were doing coin flip things, but I think Bernie
Yeah, that was
still
the intent
technically
was
won.
no matter what, he can't be Bernie. That was what the coin flip, and we're gonna do it again and again and again, was all about.
Yeah, but I think he still actually technically won the Iowa caucus, amongst other places, just by just by the caucus style, not votes, but like the caucus style. I think he still won.
They didn't say he did. Yeah,
Well,
they never said he did.
Buttigieg went out and announced that he won, but I don't think he actually won by the numbers. But it was all like kind of subversion in a way. But it's Bernie Sanders. Like, what's the?
I don't
Is that our
agree with
victory?
any of the left, but Bernie won that, but it was stolen from him.
Yeah,
In Iowa specifically.
yeah, they were miscounting counties on purpose, and in my opinion, on purpose, and yeah, and they use that as a leap board or whatever it's called, whatever, as a narrative to win to create the suspension of disbelief, so that when Biden would just once South Carolina happened, it went all Biden after that. Everything else was just Biden. When it made no sense in certain states, but still, it's still Biden's apparently.
And then what's her name? Briahna Joy Gray.
Yeah.
Said it was unfortunate that we didn't have a primary in the 2023 election. It's like that's you're gonna say unfortunate? That is weak sauce saying it like that.
I think she's being in jest, as in like it was a travesty, it was corruption, in her mindset. Probably that's probably what she would think or say in that scenario, like in like a real argument wise. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, once again, based on a lot of support for Trump in the 2016 race, I would assume a lot of those guys, not everyone, but a decent amount of them, would see the same thing happening to Bernie Sanders, both in 2016 and in 2020. But because of the D next to Bernie Sanders' name, that kind of held them back a bit from going that direction. And it is what it is, right?
Well, we also will never know because it never got to Bernie ever having a chance at the general. And that's just honest truth.
Well, you and Harrison already told me what you guys would do.
I know what I would do.
A knowingly corrupt candidate, you'd do that, right?
Swing voters could be swung the other way. Sure, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. But you guys would support a knowingly corrupt candidate over Bernie Sanders,
Over any Democrat, yeah.
which is, once again, counterintuitive and working against yourself. Like, on paper, working against
No, it isn't.
yourself. It is. On paper, you're working against
No.
yourself.
No, because
Okay,
I
no, it's
know a
not. Never
Democrat
mind.
is
We'll keep it moving.
evil yeah, Democrats are pure evil at all times, every day, since they chose the word Democrat.
That's right, man. We'll keep it moving. I'm glad you're thinking. Here we go.
There was $70 million of free media that Biden got after winning South Carolina, that they then changed the order of the primary contest so that a pro-Biden.
It was Jim Clyburn, right, in South Carolina, and he did this little endorsement thing of Biden. Meanwhile, like, Bernie was like dominating the first 4 states, right? And then he still supported a guy who was getting 3rd, 4th place in these states, right? People had to drop out just to help him out a little bit more. And it was like clear as day where the election was going. And then, once again, suspension of disbelief. Jim Clyburn out here saying, like, well, you know what? I endorse Biden. Now, all of a sudden, everyone other than those 4 states now all support Biden all of a sudden, which looked rigged as fuck. It looked rigged as shit.
When people didn't support Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow everybody that stepped out of the race, their stuff went to that Jim Clyburn guy, right? And then Jim Clyburn gives it to Biden.
He gave South Carolina
like
to
a baton.
Biden on paper, right? And thus we're like, wait a minute,
It was
Biden.
like a baton.
And all of a sudden, everyone just went towards Biden, which made no sense. Made zero sense, but it still happened anyways. And once again, like, what's the point of if let's say Bernie meant well? Well, he's the weakest meaning well person I've ever seen in my fucking life, if that's the case. But I just don't. I'm not even there. I think he's okay with it. Like, you know what? I'm old. Let me just be an old man, just live out my rest of my life. I think he's like in that category. He's not like a meaning well guy anymore or at all, honestly. But God.
Yeah, so it was as ridiculous as, well, Kamala got 3% in Iowa. Elizabeth Warren got 6% or whatever it fucking was. I'm just making up numbers. So, and then somehow they combined together under Clyburn. Then Clyburn has like 15%, put it all together somehow. And then it's batoned over to Biden.
Yeah.
And that becomes 30%.
Yeah. It's just funny how the effects of Trump worked on some people, but not the Bernie one. Kind of interesting. Not that Bernie's trustworthy. Like, I'm aware of that. I looked into his information and shit like that, and I see why Bernie wasn't trustworthy for me, right? But for others that were already voting on such dumb rubrics in the first place, somehow, like, it's like it really was like a magic trick, and I guess it worked. It's still working today, apparently. Motherfuckers have still not diagnosed or assessed the exact life they live in themselves on a political level, right? For voting for people. And that's just unfortunate, I guess. But let's keep playing. Here we go.
Biden state could go early enough so that they wouldn't have to do quite the same level of machination. But that again, you had a mass dropping out and coalescing behind a candidate in order to make it seem as though there's an inevitability there with Joe Biden that there simply wasn't. Sorry, I told kind of 2 stories at the same time with 2016 and 2020. But, you know, that was a 2020 story. And in 2016, it was a much more acute. In the Democratic Party, of course, the DNC admitted that they were entitled to and did, in fact, put their finger on the scale in favor of Hillary Clinton. So it does beg the question, by some accounts, and I don't expect you to, agree with this, but I do have to just put out there, by some accounts, we haven't had a real primary since 2008.
I see rigging as too strong a word for what you're describing. I think that...
Bullshit. Fucking bullshit.
Yes, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton were like
called
some
an IQ
advantage was
test.
given to them
Watch her fail.
by having
This
this
was written
built-up
in the
institutional
1970s,
support
though, in
within the party.
Democratic Party.
But I also
And in
think that, like,
media.
but like in 2020, when you say that, like, okay, there's this sort of conspiracy of candidates to all drop out, except for Biden, giving him this advantage that he wouldn't otherwise have had against Bernie Sanders. Like, yes, but I feel like that also contains like a tacit admission that the only way for Bernie Sanders to have won would be to split the center-left vote.
Oh, I agree. So I think that is true, and that is
You
also how
shouldn't agree.
Sanders,
Donald
like,
Trump
consciously
won,
doing
right?
something.
Donald Trump, the Republicans did not do that same thing in 2016, and he was able to win. He has never had
Hit pause.
a supermajority of the majority of a primary vote in that exact same way. So I think if we were having a different kind of conversation, I absolutely put it on Bernie Sanders and the campaign to have anticipated this outcome and to have done the work that needed to be done, that even if the Democratic centrist maneuvered the way that they did and were expected to maneuver, he would still able to win, still be able to win. And that's
Oh God.
If in the primary on the Republican side, if someone drops out and they endorse a candidate, it doesn't hand everything they got from a previous state over to them.
No, that wasn't happening with the Democrats either. It was basically what you're saying.
It was.
No, it wasn't. It's not the same. No. That's not what it is. It's just like, once again, suspension of disbelief of like, hey, because you guys liked me so much, you're hardcore voting for me. I'm dropping out. I'm saying go vote for this person, and thus they go vote for that person, and then that's the idea. And the same thing could happen with Republican Party too. Same thing could happen, right? But you guys don't have super delegates though, to where like someone like does win. You're like, you know what? We don't want them, so we're gonna pick this guy instead. But also, let's be honest. Maybe that is something that's part of the game plan. It's just Trump was already a part of the problem. He's already part of the fuckery in the first place. So thus, why not give him the nod, right? Give him the go ahead, the green light, if you will. Like, why not do that? For some reason people weren't thinking that. It's like, it's actually is child abuse. Like, I'm watching it like happen back then. It's like, yo, this is child abuse. They are abusing their supporters and voters, man. And that's what happened. They abused you, and it is what it is. But let's play here. Same thing with the Democrat shit. They got abused. Contrapoints. If she's for real, she got abused too. If she's full of shit, then she's one of the abusers. Let's apply. Here we go.
on him. That's, at the end of the day, that was the responsibility of the campaign.
Putting more effort to win in South Carolina and so on.
Well, I don't think that Bernie had to win South Carolina to win. I think that in some levels, the uphill battle, the frustration is that, Biden loses the first, 4 contests dramatically, right?
Yeah, dramatically,
it's like
actually.
4th or 5th place in New Hampshire or whatever it was.
Yep.
And a world where the media was fair would have covered Bernie's win in Nevada as a huge electability proof of electability, given that he won 70% of the Latino vote, and he would have gotten that huge media boost in the polls after that win, and all of the other wins in those early contests. But you can imagine that even if others didn't drop out, if the media continues to ring the alarm bells that Bernie isn't electable because of socialism and Biden is because of black people, that he might still even be able to carry the day the same way in 2016, those same arguments were made about Hillary Clinton, which were fundamentally untrue, right? As you just explained.
But I guess I wonder, I question, just how, I mean, I'm sure it has some effect, but how much does the media sort of framing a candidate as unelectable affect the actual voting choices of primary voters.
Well,
'Cause, I mean,
Natalie,
Donald Trump
you said
was-
you
yeah.
said that you thought that Hillary Clinton was more electable than Bernie in 2016, right? And you're a very informed and savvy person, and yet every single poll from that election cycle showed that Bernie averaged 10 points up on Hillary Clinton, on Donald Trump, while Hillary Clinton never got out of the margin of error over Donald Trump. And in some ways, her loss to him was perfectly anticipated by the polls.
Yeah.
But not by the primary votes.
Right, but I mean, this is the thing. This is what's so interesting about that black voter example we gave
This
in
is
the
not
beginning
fair.
about how
Contrapoints
black
does not know
voters
what the
didn't get
fuck
behind
she's
Barack
talking about
Obama
at all.
until they believed
She's
he was
gonna get ran
electable,
over.
which means
Yes.
that white people would vote for him, which is why the Iowa contest was so important for Obama, right? And similarly, a lot of
Yes.
voters, what their primary concern is beating Republicans. Democratic leaning voters want to beat Republicans, and so they'll vote for whoever
Which is
they're
idiotic,
told,
but-
whoever they believe is the most electable candidate. Which is why, when centrists sometimes make this argument, well, Bernie didn't win, or people just didn't like him. When the media's role in arguing
She's saying it wasn't even rigged.
aggressively that he couldn't win, and you have
Contra.
CNN hosts saying that there's going to be beheadings in Central Park because of the coming socialist raids. Well, of course, what else could the voting public possibly believe? They were never once told about how every single poll showed that Bernie was the most electable candidate.
How do you feel about that? That your guys' arch nemesis CNN was saying, yeah, it's a socialist nightmare. Like you have to agree with them. You have to be like, you know what, CNN got Bernie right, but they got Trump wrong.
I agree. Yes.
But also, you got Trump wrong for what you
Bernie
wanted,
is a
and
commie.
CNN got Trump right. Right? By those PR standards, you got right.
Trump is still better than any Democrat ever.
So Bernie's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
speak for yourself.
Well, by
I
your own
mean,
standards.
You and the girl that are in here right now, you're the only ones that don't like Trump.
Okay.
Me and Dubs, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
what's your basis for comparison? Who's
agree with
better than
Harrison,
Trump?
Dubster?
You gonna go with Joe Obama? Is that who you want?
Do you agree with Harrison, Dubster? Trump has been good,
But
right?
Trump is better than any Democrat? Yes.
No, I think you said Trump is the right guy, right? He's a good guy, the right one. Right, Harrison?
For what we got right now, it's the only option.
Well, he's already president, so like you don't even have an option. I mean you do, but like you're
Exactly.
not going to exercise that one. So I'm just going to erase that from your own behavior patterns, right?
What?
There's other options, but you guys are not in that lane, right? So why even go there?
What?
Well, the alternative would have been
saying
Kamala
no
Harris,
to
and we'd have
anything that's
another 10
corrupt.
million people in the country by now, illegally. That ain't right. That's not moderate either. So, yeah, Trump's better.
Okay. And this is what better looks like, right? The political scenario you see right now that's what better looks like.
Yeah,
And I can't even imagine
sure.
what worse would look like. Jesus Christ.
I couldn't
You want
either.
us to look like fucking France or Britain with a fucking bunch of refugees running around like retards killing people? I mean, we already got enough of that as
We
it
already
is.
have
Trying to
that.
get rid of those
Yeah,
fucking...
we already have that.
Damn. So when I say bricks for brains, hopefully that hits home somewhere for you guys, right? I mean, like actual brick brains.
More Somalis.
I mean,
More
shape-
Somalis.
What's it
shaped
gonna
like
take, Jordan?
squares.
Are you gonna have to get stabbed by one of these idiots before you agree that, yeah, fucking illegal shouldn't be here?
Exactly. You know what? Once again, YouTube, I don't hire these guys. I didn't hire them to make me look smarter.
He's a commie. He's
swear to
broke,
God.
bro. He doesn't have any money.
I didn't hire them for this. You think I'm fucking joking. I didn't fucking hire them for this. It's cute, but, shout to Christ. Here we go. Idiots.
He's a broke commie.
I guess,
we know he
my
doesn't have
concern
any
with this
money.
is just that, like,
Yeah,
to
joke around,
put so
idiot.
much blame on the media. I mean, like, sure, like you can always blame the media. Like I blame the media for a lot of things. I blame the media for a lot of Donald Trump's success because they kind of have inadvertently, But it's like the media is what it is, and like
Can't hold
I
a
think
conversation
that
with fucking gnats.
this needs to be.
We're there. We're there,
I guess
apparently.
I feel like
Well,
there's a kind of like defeatism
embarrassing.
contained in this kind of idea of it all being
Embarrassing.
rigged, where it's like a progressive candidate to win in the Democratic Party. I think it is possible, right? But I feel that it is this kind of I see it as, I guess, defeatist to suggest that it's all hopelessly rigged.
Well, I don't think it's defeatist. I don't think
Yeah.
it's
No,
hopelessly.
it's an assessment.
Well, what is
Contrapoints.
the it?
Oh, fuck.
What is the it exactly? And
Well,
what do we mean by progressive
the
candidate?
primary, let's say.
It's not
Okay.
bad vibes.
So
Assess
if
the
you were to ask
situation.
me, I
lady.
would say that
What the fuck are we
my
doing?
attitude is the opposite of defeatist. But it is. I think I'm being pragmatic.
Is the world this fucking stupid?
I worked for
Are we
Bernie,
this stupid?
obviously, in 2020. I believed enough in the
I guess so.
possibility of winning as a progressive within the
We gave
Democratic
up, didn't
Party.
we? We all gave up,
to
didn't we?
take a pretty significant pay cut and go be a national press secretary and
Dummies.
give my life to this. But then I learned the lesson from that, which is that my fundamental belief is that if you are genuinely progressive, meaning that you take a aggressive stance against the interest groups that are at the root of making life bad for working class Americans, meaning the banking industry, the energy sector, calling out corporate PACs, foreign influence PACs like APAC and all of the rest, the health insurance lobby, obviously. Because you advance populist policies that are counter to those interests, right? Like universal health care, ending wars, the Green New Deal, et cetera. That because those interests are so embedded in the Democratic Party as a corporate party, they will stop at nothing to stop you. I think that is very difficult to argue with. Is it possible that one might be successful despite those efforts? I think it's possible. But I think that it's frankly so unlikely that we have to, as the left, heighten the contradictions, make that really clear to the voting public, and encourage the public to focus their energy on other strategies to affect change.
Okay, I think this is where this is where the real disagreement begins.
Sure, let's
Right,
get into it.
Right, like I think, because I think that, I guess what I sort of don't understand about your position is I don't understand what is like the theory of change here, and on like what time frame do you imagine this happening? Because I guess the way I see it is that the consequences of Donald Trump winning have been so dire that it's like very difficult for me to take seriously the suggestion that like, well, it's a correct, it's the idea that we should have diverted all energy away from Kamala Harris to focus on some kind of more revolutionary long-term change. It's like, well, isn't there some way that we can, like, I don't know, both elect a plausible center-left candidate and also have a longer-term, more progressive strategy, considering like stuff like, allowing Elon Musk to come in and destroy USAID, and which is probably killing hundreds of thousands of people, and like
What?
the Supreme Court that's overturned Roe v. Wade.
You need to assess the topic itself. Contrapoints. Is that the case? Please go over all of it. Why just go with? She's just saying like talking points we've heard already before from the fucking Democratic Party. With us, like, have you actually like looked at it at all? What do you think? Contrapoints. What do you see? Or are you just like taking it for granted, like a lazy fucking thinker? There's too many lazy thinkers, like too many lazy fucking thinkers out there, man. Do better, please. I beg you to. That's if you don't mean well, like fuck off then. Like go do your thing over there. But like, come on, no assessment. Just like, well, USAID. Where'd you get that from? Oh, from these guys over here? Well, they're full shit. That is fucking documented. When it comes to Obama or fucking Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or George W. Bush. There it is. They're documented full shit artists. Copying them is no fucking feather in your fucking cap. Roe v. Wade. Have you thought about it, lady? At all? Of course not. It's politicized. You pick your team. You're just going about your team's fucking protocol. Versus being an actual thinker. Don't you do like philosophy on your channel? What happened? If you were ever there, like if you were ever there in the first place, let's be honest, you probably weren't, right? Let's play. Here we go.
allowing Elon Musk to come in and destroy USAID, and
What are
which
we
is
doing?
probably killing hundreds of thousands of people, and like the Supreme Court that's overturned Roe v. Wade and is gutting voting rights, and all these like
Or
fairly
bring back
difficult to reverse,
USAID
like
and kill hundreds of
catastrophic
thousands of people.
consequences.
Like, what are you arguing for?
That is like
Are you against
a
that?
fairly
If you're against
massive
that,
short
you
and
can't
medium
support
term
either
sacrifice for
one.
potential maybe long term benefit.
Well,
And
yeah, go ahead.
maybe
I'm sorry.
maybe I guess I would maybe need to hear you explain what you think is the theory of long term change here that comes from voting third party, for example.
She's gonna run you
Well, I
over.
would say two things.
It's really-
One, that I and third party voters did not cause Trump to win the first time or the second time, right? There were more
Yeah,
Bernie Trump
I agree
voters,
with
as you know.
that.
Okay. Two, I would say I'm not. While I might believe, frankly,
Make it about
somewhat
morality,
pessimistically,
Bree.
that
Or don't even.
but
what's the
for
point?
things getting worse and having a sort of an accelerationist bent, people are not going to wake up and make things better. I am not, in fact, an accelerationist because I wouldn't actively try to make things worse. And it wasn't me arguing that Donald Trump should win over Kamala Harris. My argument was that Kamala Harris is absolutely going to lose if she declines to move on Gaza. And we were right about that.
Strategy.
Right?
Do you think that Gaza is the issue that cost her the election?
I think it's been pretty proven out by the data. So what we have is a number of studies, including a study by IMEU, that polls Biden 2020 voters as to why they didn't vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, right? Like what makes up that deficit that made him win and her lose. And the number one issue is Gaza. The number one issue. Now, so it's not the majority, it's not above 50% of people, right? But of all of the issues listed at 27% or whatever it was, 29%, it was close to 30%, was Gaza. So there were a lot of different things, right? The short primary, Biden's senility, the sense that they were, dishonest and hiding that from us as a public, the lack of a primary, all of these things. But when you saw how many voters, particularly in swing states like Michigan, were openly saying, we will vote for you. The uncommitted movement, remember, wasn't a we're not going to vote for you movement. It was a we're holding our votes hostage in exchange for this policy concession, which frankly would make you more electable to the broader public because nobody supported at that stage. Very few people, the polls were already overwhelmingly in favor of ending support for Netanyahu's government. And the choice was made by the Democratic Party, not people like me, to choose an alliance with Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel and its genocide over winning an election. And Donald Trump, who also obviously is a genocidal candidate, at least had the sort of political savvy to try to blur the lines and lie to the public about being a quote unquote anti-war public. And if you ask a lot of voters, they'll say, I know that Trump was lying to me. I know he wasn't anti-war, but at least it wasn't as in my face as someone like Kamala Harris saying we're going to have the most lethal army and we're not going to break from Benjamin Netanyahu and I'm not going to break from Biden and his policy.
So I guess I think that
This is not. She's talking to a child. This is not.
I sort of don't really see it as a very
not
strong
fair.
message that has been sent to the Democrats that they lost this election, considering that Donald Trump won, a candidate who is more unconditionally fanatical in his allegiance to Israel, right? And who is even more who has gone further than the Democrats, who has banned all funding for UN aid and relief
they're a
to
different
Palestinian
version of dumb,
refugees, and who was
Contrapoints.
threatening to deport
They're
people.
dumb.
Well, Biden did that.
Different version that.
Biden did what?
Biden cut UNRWA funding. That happened under Biden in spring of 2024, right? Israel.
Listen, if you want to trick the Democratic voter base that probably view themselves as so fucking smart, don't they? Just lie to them. It's simple. Biden, Harris, it's like, hey guys, we are working diligently to get a ceasefire to end this war. We're doing everything we can because what Israel's doing is so fucking bad right now. You know what? Free Palestine. We're gonna work in that direction, and they'll fall for it. They'll fall for it. I think it's obvious. They'll fall for it. The other team is a different flavor of dumb, where you could just yeah, I'm gonna do something very terrible, and they'll be like, yeah, maybe terrible is good now. It'll work on them. That's where we're at. Let's not lie to ourselves. But honestly, the ones that are thinking righteously would dismiss both of them. Like, wait a minute, you're full of shit, aren't you? Or the thing you said you're going to do is like corrupt, isn't it? So you're done too. Unfortunately, morality is not part of this conversation for some reason, but it will
What
be.
the right said was, we're going to fight the same enemy this country's been fighting for 250 years, called Islam.
Yeah, and it worked on a lot of dummies, right? If they fell for that, they got tricked,
No,
right?
it's not falling for it. It's falling through with what they've always done.
So they're with what's happening right now. It doesn't look that way.
Islam
Unless
is
you're calling
the
the right
enemy.
Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin. Is that the right for you?
Islam is always America's enemy.
So the
Look
right
at
the
the
right is
American
Mark
history.
Levin and Ben Shapiro, right? That's the right, according to you.
No. I
Then
said
who are these
Islam
guys that
is
are against
always the
this?
enemy.
Who are these guys that are against all this stuff that's happening right now? Who are they?
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Who are they? I'm asking you.
Who?
Majority of people that voted for Trump don't like what he's doing with Iran, right? Who are those people?
Well, they don't want war in general, but they also understand that America fights Islam at all times.
But that's the Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin wing, and you're saying you're not them either. So, like,
No,
who are you
that's
talking
American
about?
history. That's American history.
I'm talking about
That is
modern
the
voters,
the
man. Modern supporters and voters. They don't like
I'm
what's
talking
happening
about
right now.
factual history. I'm talking about factual history. America always fights Islam.
Okay, but people don't like what's happening right now, right? Or they're fighting an
Okay.
Islamic nation.
Yeah, they
What's-
have
what's
what's
that?
called war fatigue. Sure, I agree. They have what's called war fatigue. They're tired of war.
But well, they don't like what's happening. Period. It seems like. Are you saying there's a different sentiment out there that's not Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin? Please,
Yeah.
who's that? I don't know who you're talking about then, honestly.
Fuentes, he says what I'm saying right now on the topic of Islam. We always fight Islam.
Fuentes is voting Democrat, according to Nick Fuentes.
Good for him. What he's saying is we always
Good
fight
for
Islam.
him.
That
Why'd
is
you
facts.
just? Is he still a Republican when he votes Democrat?
As far as I know, he's Republican. He claims to be Republican, unless
If he votes
I mean,
Democrat,
he can change
will
his
he-
mind. He can change his mind. He is open to do so. But when he said this, he was still quote unquote Republican.
It's once again you kind of wrecked yourself.
But I
realizing
don't
you
need-
did it, but go ahead.
I also don't need because I don't actually
Of course not,
need
yeah, of
anyone
course not.
to say this because the history fucking tells us that
Okay.
we fight Islam as America. We have since 1803.
Okay.
We built a navy to fight Islam. It is in the
Good point,
actual
man. Good point.
outlining. It is in the actual outlines of the proclamation to build the navy because we are fighting the corsairs of Algeria, which was what we called the Barbary pirates.
Okay.
State-funded terrorists.
Well, it looks like you have things figured out. So I'm gonna keep playing. Let's move on. Here we go.
Cool.
All of
claimed,
it.
yeah, Israel claimed that there were 4 Hamas terrorists in UNRWA,
Oh, I dropped my
and as
ball
a
cap.
consequence, all UNRWA funding was cut, and that's
Wait,
when the
this is
humanitarian
the-
crisis really amplified, as opposed to the starvation, the what do you call it, collective punishment really amplified, right? So I
This is a
take your
factual,
point.
that's a
that the-
factual question. I'll have to look. I'll have to look at it.
I'm pretty confident about that because
Yeah.
I was having to report on this on a daily basis on Rising before. To be clear, I was fired because of that exact kind of reporting, right? Reporting on the facts of what was happening in America's lockstep and enabling of Israel's genocide. But the bigger point I would say is this. I can readily concede that there are many ways in which Trump is worse than Biden, obviously, and that Republicans generally are worse than Democrats. I think the question, people in my who share my politics have the feeling that one party being worse than the other is an insufficient reason to vote for the lesser of two evils, when there is enormous latitude for the better party to simply stop being evil. And that the big trick of liberalism is convincing folks that you have to be at least a little bit evil in order to win, even when the opposite is true. Even when supporting Medicare for all makes you more electable, even when supporting Palestinian rights makes you more electable. Democrats are making choices not, in fact, based on electability, but based on what their corporate donor base wants them to do. And if we ever want both parties to stop slipping more and more in that direction, and for there to be any red lines in the sand, even over something as cataclysmic as a genocide, somebody has to say, you have to earn my vote at some point in this. So I would turn your question to me back around to you. On what timeline, at what point, is there ever going to be a litmus test among liberal Democratic voters that says this is a kind of evil that I will not succumb to, that I will not support with my vote?
I mean, I see the place to litigate that is in a primary, and I understand the frustration with not having a primary in 2024. Right. But that is the way this ought to work, and the way I expect it to work in 2028. But I think
So you're a person of the times.
Are you going to have a fair primary in 2028?
I think so. I mean, so I guess I'm not as
based on anything.
Again, I think I'm not as impressed as you are by the claim of rigging, which I feel like is a somewhat exaggerated claim for a institutionally backed candidate having a advantage. I mean, I think that I also feel like there's some tension between. So you're saying that you don't think that third party voters or abstaining progressives are the reason why
Briahna.
Kamala Harris lost. So in what sense is that Gaza the issue? Because again, it's like if you look at the map, it looks, and if you look at, how many votes Jill Stein got, less than 1% versus the like significant electoral college and popular vote victory of Donald Trump, it looks to, like
2020.
It looks like voters shifted to the right, in other words. And so,
why do you say that?
Well, because
on what?
Because Kamala Harris didn't lose to a huge amount of voters turning third party. She lost to people turning to Donald Trump.
And
you and your idiocy, Contrapoints, don't realize that when he says words out loud, people buy into it. I think that's already exemplified by this Discord alone, where he says words out loud, that empty words, but still the dum-dums will hear words and like run with that direction. And maybe it's about something like a little bit more visceral than inside baseball political talking points. It maybe actually be about like, let's not blow kids up. It might actually be about that, quietly. And thus, if one side's saying, yeah, we'll do that, or we won't say anything about it, and the other team's like, yeah, listen, we won't do this, we won't do that, we won't do this action, foreign military stuff, we won't start new wars, we won't blow people up, we won't do that, we're moving away from that. Now it's the master of the deal. The master of the deal. Now it's that. You see why dumb fucks fell for that, Contrapoints? He painted a picture without even seeing the character there. Unfortunately. And, well, granted, the Trump fans did the same thing, right? They painted a character without even seeing they're not even, like, investigating, like, is this guy that? Is he really that? Or not? They aren't looking, apparently. They weren't looking, and thus they fell for it. Well, you painted a picture of this guy's a bad guy no matter what, rather than, like, actually assessing things. If you look at the message that was there, you can see why regular motherfuckers might support this guy. They're tricked. Yes, they're tricked. They're dummies. They got fooled. They're ignoramuses. Yes. But still, they went towards a certain message or idea. And that's what worked. So thus, if Kamala's like, all right, people, no new wars, no new, like something similar in that realm of like, hey, no bad shit. We're not gonna do bad shit, right? We're not gonna be corrupt like other people were. We're gonna do something different. Guess what? Had fucking legs to it. It had actual legs to it. And for some reason, whether she's purposely this stupid or just by life experience this stupid, does not get this. right? But let's play. It's kind of common sense at this point, but as you can see, we're still in a struggle. Apparently, here we go.
Amount of voters turning third party. She lost to people turning to Donald Trump.
And people staying home. So take the Muslim vote, for example.
Okay.
I think about 50% of Muslim Americans voted Republican and the other half voted Green.
Yes.
Because of Gaza.
Yes.
Right? So, you can sit here and have a debate about the wisdom.
And not because Trump was so good on Gaza. It was more so like, we've seen what you guys did with Gaza. So thus, this guy's a better chance. For like, hey, what's better than full blown annihilation? Let's just do
negative
the unknown. Let's do the question mark version, right? Although he was saying over the campaign trail, right? Finish the job, right? Which means in his first term would give you evidence of, the answer today is obliteration of Gazans, right? Is obvious, right? I would think. Although they did some not even special magic, they just said words that would make people think differently, but I think it's kind of obvious what would happen. For me personally, at least. But people accepted that, and here we are. Let me reset real fast. It's lagging. Why am I doing this? I don't know. There we go. I think it's because I'm a champion. You know what? That's it right there. I'm a champion. I'm here to help the downtrodden, the weirdos, the broken toys, and the dumb fucks of the internet. I'm here to help them out.
Spell your name.
Let's play. Here we go.
Voting for Donald Trump when he was going to be worse.
It's still my
But
jokes.
when
How
I
dare you.
say it's not on the voters, it's because
Nigga,
enormous
spell your
attitude
name.
for Kamala Harris to simply say, you know what, there's a genocide, you're right. Benjamin Netanyahu is unpopular. His government is unpopular even within Israel.
Hell yeah.
I will not support sending weapons and arms to Israel. Ceasefire now. And she could have won, right?
But
so
for that
why
to be,
not put the
for that to be true, doesn't it have to be the case that she lost the election because of protest voters or abstainers, as opposed to
what I'm trying to argue is that one, Jill Stein voters, as you point out, are not the ones. But people who chose to stay home or vote for Trump, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, definitionally, you lose because some quantity of voters have voted for your team before either stayed home or went to the other side. And my argument is that those voters could easily have been kept in the pen. Now, to be clear, my personal politics are, I don't think they should go back to the Democratic Party. I don't think anybody should go back to the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Democratic strategist, if I'm Kamala Harris, I don't get to argue that I was entitled to those votes, that I
Kamala
easily
didn't even
could
have
have
to
gotten
win
by
a primary.
simply changing my position to a more populist one. It's almost akin to saying, if I'm Kamala Harris and I come out on stage and decide to say, I hate everybody who lives west of the Mississippi. If you live west of the Mississippi, I do not want you to vote for me. If you live west of the Mississippi, we're going to bomb you and kill you. And then election day comes and she's like, gosh, man, it's really unfair that I lost the election because I antagonized everybody west of the Mississippi. Like, it was the electable position for her to take, and she declined to take it. So at what point do we hold politicians accountable for choosing to throw an election rather than to modify America's relationship with a genocidal country?
So I think there's two questions here, right? Like, one is, whose fault is it that she lost? Kind of a descriptive question. And then the other is, should we have advocated that she lose? A more of a normative question. So
the first question I skip is like, okay, why'd she lose? Skip, instant skip. Sorry, I'm skipping that one. Why'd she doesn't deserve the win. Skip. And what was the second one?
Advocated that she lose.
Should we advocate that she lose? Yes. There's your answers. First question, skip. Second question, yes.
Cool. So Trump won. That's how it played out. Hello?
a more of a normative question. So like the descriptive question, like I think the blame for why an election turns out the way it does is always going to be widely distributed, right? And like of course some fault is on Biden and on Kamala Harris. Like I do think that like I would agree with the criticism that the Biden administration failed to they did not have the agility to respond to the situation in Gaza by breaking from like decades of bipartisan consensus that Israel's our closest ally and blah 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 blah, right? Like they did not have the agility to read the situation
Well,
and,
Pause.
and
what do you
change. Like
what
I
do you mean
agree
by
with that.
What do you mean they
Well,
didn't have the agility?
Yeah, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Spinning.
They didn't have the wherewithal to be like, hey, people don't like this. It's that simple, Contrapoints. It's not some sort of, oh my God, they didn't have the wherewithal to understand that people don't like what's happening over there. So thus we can't support it. Like, no, it's not wherewithal. It's, I sure hope these people don't care about this topic because, it's a losing one.
Well, you also flip that on its head.
It went for
That's-
Trump, though, apparently.
That's Trump. That's Trump's excuse. He doesn't have the agility to separate us from the bipartisan support of Israel being our ally.
And that, well,
Well,
he was active. I don't get that one at that point.
I'm saying flip it on its head for the question she's giving the excuse for Kamala.
Well, let's try to deal with actualities.
why
Let's
Trump-
try our best, But go ahead, Jesse.
Well, I'm saying if she's doing that, then that applies. You apply that across the board to Trump.
That works for her as an individual and what she's saying. Yes, you can for her to be a hypocrite on her shit. But I think we're trying to speak of a bigger story happening. Go ahead, Jesse.
The word agility is very weird here. It almost
Yeah,
sounds
loose.
like she's saying like a capability or something that they could have actually done differently. But I think what she actually means is the messaging and the spinning
Yep.
of how they
Yep.
present themselves. I think that's what she really means, because she's not really saying that they had to do things differently policy wise or anything, right?
Yep. I think agility actually means to be able to like bounce around PR wise, right?
Okay.
Because of the kind of consensus about Israel itself, right? As she says. So thus, there's no room to like, for some reason, like thinking that regular people are the same as the politicians themselves. When like I don't view that at all. I don't view that as like, oh, because Mitch McConnell says I love Israel means the people of his state also do the same thing. I don't think so. Especially in the face of this topic, I don't think so. So what she actually she's once again mimosas at brunch, fucking personality seemingly. Versus like I actually keep my fingers on the pulse of what's happening. Like you were just so far out of it. That's why you seem like such a fucking ignoramus about this. Bad to guess.
She wants her team to be better able to trick the voters.
I hope not, but that could be
That's
definitely
what it
part of
sounds
it.
like.
It could definitely be part of it for sure. Once again, I leave room for this person being just so stupid and thinking like politics works like it does on CNN. That's the way like people move. That's the way people behave. That's people's thought patterns. So thus, you can't just go out there and scorch Israel because people love this. Meanwhile, she's just looking at a CNN poll saying, 90% of Democrats say Israel has the right to exist. So thus, the constituents must think the same thing. Meanwhile, it's like, no, most people like hate their politicians locally and on a bigger governmental level. In my worldview that I've seen, at least. But yeah, whatever. We vote for this guy because maybe it's a little bit better than last year, right? That seems to be like the actual thing that happens. But either way, let's hit play. What's that? Sorry. Briahna Joy Gray is gonna walk her down. It's not gonna be fair. It's gonna get ugly. It already is ugly to me on an intellectual level. It's already ugly. So thus, and this is a layup for Briahna Joy Gray. A layup. This person does not know, like Sam Cedar might have been a better opponent in regards to like having a conversation about this stuff. But he'd fall to future depressed Sam Cedar. He'd fall to. But let's apply. Here we go.
Closest ally and blah 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 blah. Right?
Thank God
Like
some
they did not
fucking
have the
brains over my
agility
Discord.
to read the
Thank fucking
situation
God.
and
What do you
change. Like
what do
I
you mean
agree
by
with that.
What do you mean
Well,
they didn't have the agility?
I mean that they acted in a way that was consistent with how American foreign policy has been for decades, as opposed to recognizing that this situation
They don't know how the
demanded
foreign
a
policy's been
kind of
going,
break from
Contrapoints.
that.
Well, yes and no, right? Because there are these.
Yeah.
I broadly know what you're saying. I'm not trying to be so nitpicky, but there are these moments where American presidents, Reagan famously, have picked up the phone and said, "Israel, you have to stop bombing Lebanon. This is a
come
bridge
on,
too far,"
Briahna.
and they stop.
Also
Right?
lame.
They understand that their
again, I
ability to
agree with that.
exist is contingent on U.S. aid. Right? Okay.
Yeah,
So we
I
do
agree,
have
I
the
agree
power
as
to
an
that
argument.
control.
like it is a
What's
failure
actually
of the
happening?
Biden administration. They should have been far more aggressive in conditioning aid. I agree.
Or conditioning
But I
it at all. To be clear, they didn't condition. They violated American
yeah.
law in not conditioning aid at all to Israel.
But I mean, well, okay, I won't get into saying why I think Trump is still worse, which I do think he is. But I think that the second question is
see.
still like, should people have, because you're not just saying that it's the Kamala Harris's fault that she lost. You're also saying that you think that she should have lost. You want her to have lost, and you
Well, that's a
advocated
separate
that people-
argument that
Yeah.
I was trying to be transparent about my own politics, which I recognize
Right.
are more radical than most. So I don't really want to. I mean, we can, but it's like a bit of a side quest. It's like me litigating that like I'm anti-circumcision. Nobody really cares. Like it's not really the point of this.
Well, I don't think it's a side quest at all. Like I think like advocating to abstain or to vote third party, that to me is the issue.
Well, no, because there's a difference between me, who has more
In what way?
of a radical or like has a much more pessimistic belief about the Democratic Party and its ability to be saved, and who frankly thinks we should just get to it and focus the bulk of our efforts towards starting something, growing the Green Party or PSL or whatever third party we as a community want to invest in.
You're gonna run into the same fucking problems, unless the point is something like let's be upfront. Here's my morals. Here's what I'm okay with. Here's what I'm like full blown 100% against. Put them up front, please. Somebody do that, please. And these fucking political actors.
She gave
Someone say
Contra a life
yes to
grant.
this and no to this. Someone like write that fucking list out, please. Please do that.
She just gave Contra the life. What do you call it? Lifesaver or something.
How so?
Lifeline.
Sure. Contra is going to start saying, well, if you vote anybody but the Democrat or Republican, you're wasting your vote.
That would be the counter argument, I believe. I've
And
heard
that's
that
what we're
many
about to hear, I
times.
think.
I've heard people
And
rage quit
I believe it.
talking about that.
I believe
But
it.
at the same time, like if you don't get started, it doesn't happen, right? If you're like, hey man, Democrats just suck ass, right? But they're the lesser evil, or in reverse, right? Republican parties, they're the lesser evil. We'll just keep voting for them, right? You don't get anywhere, right?
Don't get anywhere with third party either. There's not even a president that's ever been a third party.
No, but that's actually it's quite conditional actually because the idea is because you're so worried about the other part. That's what that needs to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense as an argument, right? You should go another direction, right? Unless you're like, oh my God, these guys are better and these guys are worse, so thus we will sacrifice, our morals, our ideals. We will sacrifice them for the sake of voting for the big main parties to stop the other team because they're so bad. If you don't have that there, you have no excuse, right? If you view the Democratic Party equally corrupt as the Republican Party, you have no excuse other than to vote for a third party if you're going to do voting at all or support in one form or fashion, right? But Contrapoints is her idea is that like, yo, these guys are so bad that it's actually worth it to vote Democrat as bad as they are, it's worth it to vote for them to stop those guys over there who are way worse. Which is also your and Harrison's
But that's
idea.
how the Republicans think. Right.
And
Just flip it on its head. We think the Democrats are so bad it's worth having corrupt Republicans that at least kind of have to lie to us.
Which is
versus
you'd
the
say dumb as
openly
rocks, right?
evil Democrats.
Oh, that dumb, right?
Versus the
Dumb thing to do.
openly evil Democrats.
Okay, and she views the Republicans as openly corrupt, right? Although I think it's aesthetically, once again, if you know storytelling and narratives and shit like that, it's kind of obvious the Republicans are openly like, yeah, we're gonna openly fuck the world up on purpose. They openly say it too.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, like they actually do that. It's just, I think,
Yeah.
no offense to the right leaning people, but I think
Just the Democrats.
Oh, God.
Just the Democrats have the 200-year history of doing it versus.
Okay, going with his. Okay, fair enough. Versus the people that are there. That's fair enough. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I think there's a reason why. No offense, right leaning people struggle with storytelling. They struggle badly with it. It's seemingly in this time period right now. Maybe in the past it was different, but right now they struggle with storytelling. So thus, people can sell them narratives that'll actually work. That actually work on their minds, and that's very unfortunate.
Well, I think they have the same problem the Democrats have. Since the internet, they can't get away with their propaganda anymore.
Okay, but once again, when it comes to modern day, right, left-leaning people, they use more. It's still, to me, stupid and missing something. It's missing a lot. There's no soul behind it, but the aesthetic is intellectual versus your guys's, where it actually is the feels, right? Like, trust the plan is not. It's not intellectual, right? That's like, I feel good about this guy, so I'm gonna do it. It's like a lottery ticket almost. Right? You're hoping you scratch off something that wins you something, right? It's hopium. It seems to like play out that way at least. Versus the other team that on the surface, once again, in modern time, seem like they need like reasons for why they're doing this or that. You know what I'm saying? Do you see that at all?
Hold on, man. I'm going down a hill at 80 fucking miles an hour. I gotta focus.
Hit those fucking brakes. Jesus Christ. Slow down.
I'm on my Jake brake. It's just the hills started running me. Pause.
Fair enough. But overall, that's what I say. But once again, Briahna, fuck groups, fuck DSA, fuck PSL, fuck whatever teams you're looking to lean towards, to just say like, well, what they're doing is wrong, so I can't be a part of that. It's that simple. But we're still in political dumbfuck time period. We are still hearing dumbfuck political takes because they're stuck in politics. And I mean, even people that scream God, religion, Christ, they scream those things, but their actual active ideas they say out loud are empty political takes. And it's like, damn, man, that's fucking sad. And even the well-meaning, solidarity movement of the lefties, same thing, empty fucking bullshit. Empty. It's unfortunate, but seems to be the case. Here we go.
And what I think is the more accessible argument that I think liberals need to engage with, which is, do you want the Democratic Party to represent your interests? Do you want it to be a populist in the meaning of a kind of a majoritarian populist party that is therefore more electable because it is advancing popular
yeah, they don't want that.
Right? That include not supporting endless wars, including not supporting genocide, include supporting Medicare for all, et cetera. And if you as a regular, mostly normie Democrat who supports those things, like 88% of Democrats who support Medicare for all, I think it's absolutely your obligation to say that I'm not going to give you my vote. It makes no sense when 88% of Democrats and almost half of Republicans support Medicare for all, for you to be putting up even a single candidate in a presidential cycle who does not support Medicare for all. But that's exactly what we get every time. And it's an independent like Bernie who'll come along and be the one guy in the room who's willing to advocate for the obviously popular and electable thing. And if we're having an electability conversation fundamentally and a how to beat Trump conversation fundamentally, or JD Vance or Tucker Carlson, whoever it is that comes down the transom, then why wouldn't you enthusiastically be saying, oh my gosh, yes, we have to push these people into the electable position?
I still feel that that's like a bit evasive, that you're trying to, well, so you're arguing that we ought to, the blame for Kamala Harris losing ought to be on Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. But you're also,
and the Democratic Party broadly.
And the Democratic Party. But you also do not support that people vote for them. So it's like, it seems
let me be clear. Let me be clear.
You're saying it's their fault that they lost, but you also wanted them to lose.
I see the disconnect.
Yeah. What she's saying is they're not electable because they're trash. And let's be honest, why they're trash is on a moral level, but Briahna hasn't got there, unfortunately. But that's what we're actually talking about. We say, like, yo, healthcare for everyone, whatever form it takes, free market or socialistic healthcare, whatever you talk about. Hey, that sounds like a good idea, right? Everyone gets healthcare, whatever form it takes, right? And hey, if you're not actually about that, then what the fuck is your point here? So thus, you're not actually electable. And once again, on the surface, when it comes to left-leaning people, they seem to like engage a little bit more with the intellectual side of these political things versus the feels, right? So thus, they want to hear like, hey, how you going to do this? What are you saying? Hey, doesn't this mean this? Like when you hear like, Pete Buttigieg saying like, oh, we'll have a public option. They see that and they're like, wait a minute, that's going to bleed out after a certain point in time versus like actually just establishing the thing in the first place, right? The Medicare for all in the first place, right? So they're like, yo, we can't trust them, right? So well, okay, let's apply. But it's I don't know, like, doesn't this person do like, once again, video essays? And aren't they a smarty pants? They're a bread tube smarty pants. They don't fucking understand how people fucking move. Are you kidding me? Here we go. Oh, sorry. Once again, one more thing. When it comes to, once again, right-leaning people, right? And they see their paycheck different because they don't have to, there's no healthcare chunked out of their paycheck. They're not going to complain. They're not. They're going to say, oh, shit got better.
Yeah, that's not real.
They may vote Republican every time, but like they'll still be like, hey, man, my checks are bigger now. I like this. Because they're not thinking too hard.
The higher your taxes are.
Once again, they're not thinking about it. So like, it's like they purposely want to be like, on both sides, they purposely want to be children, unfortunately. Instead of being like the savage in the fucking room. They want to be kids that get pulled and pushed in different directions. And when it works out in a certain way, they'll be like, yeah, this worked. We like this. Without knowing how it happened, why it happened, who did what, they won't fucking know, but they'll accept it. It is what it is. Let's apply. Unfortunate, but the case, in my opinion. But here we go.
My belief that we should abandon the Democratic Party altogether becomes from my observation that pushing them doesn't work. Okay. So I look, if people tried to push them and it worked, then my priors would be invalidated and I'd have to be open to the idea of working within the party again, right? And I might have an evolution back to the center, hypothetically. But the reason I personally, through my proximity to the Bernie campaign and following politics over the last 5 years and witnessing what Biden did with his trifecta for the first 2 years, his disinterest in shoring up the Supreme Court, packing the Supreme Court, doing any kind of real Supreme Court reform, even as the leaked memo that Roe was about to get overturned came out. All of that, the Build Back Better, bifurcation, the abandonment of the $15 minimum wage,
back better.
All of those things have led me to the conclusion that I happen to hold. But I also acknowledge that other people aren't there yet. And to get to where I am, they have to witness what I've seen. So I would love to see them try to push the party. I suspect that they will fail and that they will come around to my side. But I do think the obligation is, of course, to push the party. Yeah.
This is a sort of what I'm not following, is that you seem to be suggesting that
run towards YellBro.
Liberals need to be pushing the Democrats left, although you think that is a futile project.
Yeah, I think that it will.
So if it's futile, then why should we do it?
because it is a way to heighten the contradictions and cause people to have a consciousness about the Democratic Party and who they really are. And it's a consciousness that has started to happen under Bernie Sanders.
It's futile.
And it really blossomed because of Gaza, because so many people who weren't that political or maybe even were right-leaning and were anti-war in a right-leaning way saw what was very obvious, which was that supporting supporting Israel was a losing proposition, and that no amount of warning signs would convince the Democratic Party that they should drop this issue or even pretend to drop the issue in the short term in order to win an election, and that the party fundamentally cared more about Israel than it did about beating Donald Trump. And how can you ask voters to care more about beating Donald Trump than a party who only really uses Trump as a cudgel to advance its corporate and imperialist interests?
Oh shit, she threw too much there, I think.
I guess it seems to
Too much
me though
politics
that,
right there.
like, again, what the theory of change that you're suggesting is that presumably a fairly long-term project of bringing about the disintegration of the Democratic Party and the emergence of some kind of new left populist party. I mean, that's what you're suggesting, yeah?
100%. And just the
yeah.
same way as the Republican Party emerged because neither major American party was willing to acknowledge abolitionism as a movement. Right.
Well, it's like, why not make it about, like, why are we going to, like, it's like she's like trying to win the argument through the lens of political strategy versus like, aren't they just fucking wrong, like morally wrong? All right, that's why these guys are bad in regards to like being politicians. Like, these are terrible politicians because they're engaging in and advocating for immoral fucking policies or ideas. Once again, forgive me for not being a strategist. Maybe that wouldn't work if you appealed to morality. Maybe it wouldn't work. But like, fuck it. Someone's got to fucking start somewhere. You have to start. That is the main argument. That is the main goal. That is the main point.
And she admitted that's futile.
But like on your sword type shit, bro, pause. It's sorry. There is no other way.
Die on your sword means you're
There
dead.
is no other way. There is no other way. You can't trust the plan and wait for morality to enter the room at some point, willy-nilly. You have to be the driver immediately. Off rip. Otherwise, it doesn't get started. And thus, what's our point if we're just arguing strategy in 30 fucking years from now?
Well, that's her point. She's got a podcast. She needs it to run for 30 years.
Fair enough, but like, still, I'm going with the ideas being said out loud, right? Like, hey, let's say this person means well, right? And they're saying these ideas. Hey, how do we achieve these ideas? I assume it's from the point of view of like, well, this is wrong. That's why I can't support it. But instead, she's saying strategy. Strategically, you can't support it. It's like, what?
She said it was futile to do what I'm been talking about for 5 minutes. Briahna Joy Gray. She says her idea is futile to start a new party.
But in the sense
it's
of
a waste of time.
No, it's in the sense of, I think, in a way, morality again, where it's like, well, these guys won't listen because they have no interest in doing something that's moral. They have no interest in that, so thus it's futile to them. But if we replace them, now it's something different.
She meant to start a new party. It was futile. That's what she said. But then she added on to that, but it drives out contradictions. Like it highlights where they're going wrong in the Democratic Party. So she's saying it's futile, but it's not exactly futile. It will get it. It drives an ability for there to be some pullback on the Democrats.
What's her reason
where they
for
actually
why it's
listen to futile, as in the third party will never have a chance.
Why?
It will still be between the two.
Why? According to what you heard from her, or what you think she's saying. Go ahead.
She didn't go into that. She went into.
I think it's fucking obvious, though.
But
right?
No, she went into it. It will cause contradictions by this party. Yeah. This new third party is pitching this, and the Democrats are pitching this, and now you have to decide. So it's like a thorn in the Democratic Party's side to have to deal with this now new third party, and that's all it's going to do, which will drive the Democrats to where they have to listen to the people, basically, is what it seems like she's saying.
Okay, but I
Which
think
would bring, hold on, she also said that would bring her back to possibly being a centrist.
okay, but I what I think she's like actually doing, like calculatingly, like in a calculated way, like doing, is to say like both sides would see that and they'll run that direction if they get enough momentum, as in like, hey, we are so different than Party A and Party B that we are like there's something different about us, as in like we actually represent what people actually want to happen. So thus, even right-leaning people would leave their shit to go support that over there, this third entity, right?
It's just
part of
another
our
cut
point.
out of the pie.
Well,
Yeah, it's just another cut out of the pie. It still wouldn't have a chance. It would still be between the two parties.
once again, the pie in the sky idea that she's saying, or what a lot of people say, right?
That's why she's saying it's futile.
Well, I think she's saying it's futile in the sense of like the leadership
Actually getting a winner. Yeah.
The leadership in the Democratic Party will not allow these ideas to flourish. Period. Same with Republican, same thing, right? Same thing over there.
Sure.
And she's saying like, well, we kind of have, but we have to like stand against it. Otherwise, we're getting nothing out of any of this on a strategical level, right? We're getting nothing out of this as far as like what ideas we want to happen in regards to policy, right? We won't get anything.
Right.
So why not do something else over here and in a way punish them? And in a way, maybe there's a chance they could do something, but it has to start at some point, right?
I get the idea of third party, sure. And I get the idea of they never have a chance. And they won't ever have a chance.
No, they can. It's just, once again, it requires a mass of people
Not
to move in a different direction.
Not with the not in the layers of protection that the system is built upon itself.
Once again, it requires just people moving a different direction, which is very possible. But the hard part is for knuckleheads to get past their knuckleheadness, that's the hard part, right? It's for dummies to swallow their fucking pride and work harder at their own fucking lives, right? That requires that, rather than just like grabbing a sign and say, yeah, I love this guy, I cheer for them. You gotta do more than that, which is what Contrapoints does, which is what you just said you do in Harrison. And it's like, you have to get beyond that. You have to go past that. Otherwise, you're stuck. You're stuck. It's unfortunate, but it seems to be the case. But, all right, let's apply. Here we go.
Right. No one was willing to recognize the abolitionist movement. And so the Republicans emerged because there was half the country that was completely unseen within the political context.
But if that doesn't happen on a reasonable time frame, like if the Democratic Party does not disintegrate, then it seems that what you're advocating is, for us to essentially wind up with like a
40 years of Republicans.
Well, no, to be clear, the Democrats at any point could choose to win. Right? The Democrats at any point could choose to win. All they have to do is say, we're not going to support a genocide. Is that too much to ask?
I guess I'm not convinced that the Democrats will easily win if they simply say we're not going to support a genocide.
Why not?
Because
I'm looking at the poll now. It was 29%.
Donald Trump won perfectly well without making any such concession.
Au contraire, he said he supported a ceasefire. This is my point about how the right is willing to lie.
Exactly that. Where it's like, no. And Dubster, as you can be testimony for this, was Trump not projecting in a way quasi anti-war style policy? Was he not?
Well, he did both on the Gaza issue, like you said.
When it comes to campaigning, right? His what was his projection? His projection was like what? Anti-war style candidate, right? We're tired of these fucking wars, right?
Hurry up and get it done.
No, that's his words. Yes, and that could be viewed as something very nefarious, right?
That's
But I'm saying
campaign.
like the
That was
projection that
part of
the
his campaign.
okay, but the projection of the audience, what are they saying? They're seeing anti-war candidate.
It's all
I think
both.
they saw, yeah, sure, tough on policy, but still anti-war, anti-bullshit war, right? Right? They saw that, and thus it worked. So that projection is a part of what's being said right here, right? Like, well, Trump was
I
so
agree.
so brash about this policy or that policy. Like, meanwhile, like the projection, the campaign, and what the audience actually heard themselves was he's against bad stuff happening. Let's be real. Let's keep it like this. Let's make it fucking mashed potatoes here. Kid like mashed potatoes. It straight up is, hey, I'm against bad stuff. That was the campaign. Both terms, by the way. That was the campaign. It worked, unfortunately. Right? That simpleton style thing worked. But still, that was the projection. I'm against bad. And it fucking worked. And he had like it's kind of a narrative in his back pocket, or not even back pocket, but in his backdrop, actually, like his background. He had a certain narrative there to where it's like, that's kind of believable. You know what? I believe that. It's bullshit, blatantly bullshit. If you have brain cells, it's blatantly bullshit. But there was a sheen there versus like someone coming off Biden's administration, right? 4 years of Biden, you were the vice president, and now you're running for president, and you're not even like taking back what you did, or like, hey, being sorry about what you did, or changing the fucking narrative around. You're just like following course. So thus, you were
Well,
obviously not
he
trustworthy. Like, obvious.
but he snake tongued that shit too. Look, I'm for the Muslims, but I'm also for the Jews. And he
is
on the topic of Gaza.
Oh,
Biden,
on Gaza. Oh, okay. I thought
yeah,
you meant. I
he
thought you meant
fork-tongued.
Trump too. Whatever.
No, I mean Biden. He did the same thing when it was going on. So,
Yeah.
like, look, I gotta split this for everybody.
Yeah, but there's a
It's
right. Even the
say it.
dummies can recognize certain things, right? To where it's like, hey, you were just in office. You were just in office, and you're saying this talking point or that talking point as a reason to go vote for you. Meanwhile, like you were just in office, and you didn't do those things when you were in office. So like, why should we believe you now? Why do that? Trump somehow got a fucking go pass go for free. He somehow did that.
Like you said, he was the unknown.
I think it's the intelligence of the audience that happened. I think that's a major factor. It's a major factor. Come
It
on.
was the devil that we know versus the devil that we don't
No,
know.
Nope. No.
Yep, because it
Nope.
happened under Biden.
It wasn't seen as a devil. It was seen as here comes a hero. That was the projection or the idea of Trump. Are you trolling? You don't see that? You didn't see that at all?
No,
You
what
did
I'm
see that?
saying is
Okay.
when
enough.
Gaza occurred, Biden was in office. Like 2000 October 7th, 2023, right? That was the year. No, it was 2022.
No, it was 23, but go ahead.
Okay. Biden's in office. This happens. He says it both ways. I'm for the Muslims in this. I'm for Israel in this. Referring to Gaza.
I don't think you know.
He broke it down like that.
Fuck my life. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. So the devil that you know in that scenario, nobody knows what Trump's going to do until he gets into office. But through his campaign, he was saying it both ways as well. Not the same both ways. I'm for Israel. I'm for ceasefire.
Okay, but that was the projection was once again of Trump was a little bit more heroic of an image than what was actually there. Do you agree with that?
Well, sure, sure, but
that's
you
probably
could
what
still
got
call
him
that
shit.
the devil. You could still call that devil you know versus devil you don't know.
I don't think that was the mentality of most voters for Trump. I think it was. They didn't even
No,
know
but
that this
what
guy would still
Briahna
do
and Joy
horrendous
Gray
shit.
pointed out earlier was 50% of Muslims in America voted Republican for Donald Trump, and 50% voted to not vote.
And they said, why not? Sure.
Right.
But
That's the argument of the devil I know versus the devil I don't know.
The majority of voters in America, right? The majority, it's some sort of
No,
imagery of this guy being like an actual hero in a way,
sure.
a savior.
I could believe that. Sure.
I think that's probably more the majority, right? More so than hold your nose and vote for Trump, right? That was probably more so of Biden's voters were that in that category. Hold your nose, vote for Biden.
Swing voters? Swing voters are literally swinging.
Majority of people that voted for Biden were probably swayed by how bad they think Trump is. So thus they held their noses and voted for Biden. It wasn't a hero complex or hero
swing
story.
Voters. The devil
swing
I know
voters.
Devil I don't know.
Swing voters, I'm sure a decent amount of them actually thought Trump was like going to change things. Or were like, hey, why not? Because this guy sucks. This Biden guy sucks, which means Harris sucks.
Well, the Gaza issue was at play.
It's a part of it, but not the, unfortunately, human desecration is not the biggest story.
It was definitely.
I don't think it's the biggest story for them. I don't think the people, it's like, once again, we saw what Trump did in office with Gaza, right? But I didn't hear too many references to Biden and how bad he was on Gaza. It's kind of a little bit more hidden. It's kind of like a quiet story that was about Biden, which means the majority of voters were not looking at those stories, in my opinion, at least. It's kind of a quiet reason to be like against Biden, but not overtly.
No.
Oh, really? You think it was Gaza was the swing? Okay. Fair enough. Disagree. But what do I know?
Well, his foreign policy of pulling out of Afghanistan like he did, and that's two things on foreign policy that are really fucking bad.
Okay. All right, let's play. I mean, Trump was advocating to go back into Afghanistan during the campaign, so I don't know how that flew, but it flew. Anyways.
Yeah, that barely got heard.
Fair enough. What's up, play? Here we go.
Well, now
because
it was
the marathon. We're here.
Donald Trump won
Lance Armstrong without the drugs
making
here.
any such concession.
Au contraire, he said he supported a ceasefire. This is my point about how the right is willing to lie about it, and the Democrats won't even pretend to lie about it.
Wasn't Kamala Harris also at least nominally in favor of a ceasefire and a two-state solution?
No, she had to try. Well, the two-state solution is a whole other conversation.
But no
that is
her because she was in office.
Not really the demand at present.
Fuck.
But
yeah, she said those words about ceasefires, and AOC campaigned on her behalf saying ceasefire. But guess what? They were in office. What's your excuse when you're in office? You don't have one. When you're like, I'm an outsider. If I was there, I'd do this. Right? Thus, you had the suspension of disbelief to be like, oh my God, he might do it if he gets into office. But right now, these guys are in office. So they can say ceasefire all day and night. It means almost nothing because they're like, you're in office already. Do it now. What are you waiting for? But yeah.
If I was president, it would have never happened.
Yeah, that is one of his quotes. But all right, let's play. There we go.
Ceasefire. This is my point about how the right is willing to lie about it, and the Democrats won't even pretend to lie about it.
Wasn't Kamala Harris also at least nominally in favor of a ceasefire and a two-state solution?
No, she had to try. Well, the two-state solution is a whole other conversation. That is not really the demand at present.
This lady's not smart enough to know this.
She had tried out AOC at the DNC after precluding any Palestinians, pro-Democrat Palestinians, from speaking at the DNC to argue that Kamala Harris was tirelessly fighting for a ceasefire when subsequent biographies, like the Kamala Harris's 107 Days biography and this Alex Thompson, Jake Tapper book, acknowledged that at no point, the reporting is clear, at no point did Joe Biden consider a ceasefire. At no point. And that was a bald-faced lie. right? Which is part of why there's so much frustration with the sort of AOC left. Because here's where my argument continues. That when you do get progressives elected, and I was extremely enthusiastic about AOC. I was there the night reporting on her victory primary that nobody expected her to win. I was there her first day in office when she did the Green New Deal sit-in, and I, very hopeful about what was going to happen with her and the other electeds that were progressives that were elected in the years after. But in truth, the party changes you rather than the other way around. And this dovetails. Sorry, I want to give you a chance to respond.
No.
But this dovetails with another.
No. I'm sorry. You have not. Once again, that could be the case, Briahna, but we haven't gone through the steps to be like, how do we know she wasn't full of shit in the first place? And yes, I covered when she first won. Yeah, we need a moral thing. Like, she brought morality, right? In her little. Sorry, someone interviewed her kind of in real time, and she brought morality. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll hold you to that, lady. And here we are. Exactly. Because morality is a fucking thing to be jerked around instead of actually applied in your actual lives. It's a make-believe thingy you play with. Unfortunately. Until the lights are almost turned out. Now it's like important. Like, oh my god. Did I live a good life? Your quiet thoughts on your deathbed. Now it's important. Got it. Let's play. Here we go.
I think criticism that you make of the left, which is that we don't. What is it?
It's lagging. I mean, fucking redo that. Oh, fuck. There we go.
And this dovetails. Sorry, I want to give you a chance to respond, but this dovetails with another, I think, criticism that you make of the left, which is that we don't. What is it? Famously that you're famously quoted as saying,
"Is there a God?"
The left doesn't want power. The left wants to endlessly critique power, and this comes up in critiques of people like AOC and Zora Mamdani once they get into office. But we can come to that. I want to give you a chance to respond. I've said a lot.
Well, I still don't understand why you think that. Like, why does Donald Trump not have to do any of these things to get elected that you think that progressives would have to do?
Do what things?
Well,
she's gonna run you over.
Call for the end of Israel as a Jewish state or whatever. By
the way, I do think that should happen. That's my personal politics.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good reason for that, because the maintenance of a Jewish majority in the Arab world requires apartheid. It requires denying Palestinians the right to return. To create a democratic majority, you have to do exactly what Israel's been doing, which is genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid. So that's my view. But to be clear, that is not what I think Kamala Harris had to do to win.
Okay, but so I guess I don't understand why.
She had to acknowledge there was a crime.
Voters seem to have no trouble electing Donald Trump, this man who has an extremely pro-Israel position, more pro-Israel than the Democratic Party does. Like, why is he able to get elected without?
Was it more
Israel? Whereas, why is
she this dumb? I think she's this dumb. Like,
is it really more? Do you think the Republicans are more Israel than the Democrats?
Overtly, yes. That's fucking obvious.
No, and realistically.
Realistically? Once again,
because I mean,
when it comes to like
the $3 billion a year has been going on since how long?
Okay,
the 80s at least.
They require some sense of attachment to their policy and who they take money from, right? So thus they'll be less aggressive than the Republican Party when it comes to Israel. And that's probably clear as day, right? You knew that, right? You didn't know that? Fuck my life. What are we doing? You knew that, right?
JFK maybe been the last president go against Israel.
And his brother was all for Israel. So I'm just saying, dude, come on. You didn't know any of this. You knew that, right? Republicans are a lot more.
I didn't hear you clearly.
Like, you knew this, right? When it comes to Republican Party.
What's your question?
My question was, you knew that, right? That was my actual question. I asked.
What?
About the Republican Party in regards to supporting Israel?
What?
In modern era, right? You're aware of that, right? That's kind of obvious.
Dude, I could paint the picture just like you could paint the picture Republicans that Democrats, Bill Clinton and Obama did way more for fucking Israel than fucking anybody.
They do things, but even their policy has to have a PR to it to where they can't exactly go as full of a length that the Republican Party goes.
No, so that's what I'm saying in reality.
Yeah, I'm saying in reality, when it comes to policy, right? Democrats can't exactly go as far as Republicans can. So thus Republicans actually go that extra length. And that's why on paper they'd be viewed as like more supportive of Israel. It's more like overt and full-throated pause. Does that make sense to you?
No.
Fuck my. Why am I here? Why am I here again? I keep asking myself that question. Why am I here? What am I doing?
I mean, if you go through the fucking history of
actually.
If you go through the history of it,
Yes, please.
was
You should do
pres-
music so Dubster can go away, please.
What the actual fuck?
why don't you go away?
You don't
Why
see
don't you go away?
you don't see the overt nature of the Republican Party when it comes to Israel. You don't see that at all. You don't see
Look,
Lindsey Graham's and Mitch
Who
McConnell's and
what
your biggest
president made
names.
the fucking what president was president during the creation of Israel?
I don't know what he's
It
saying,
was
but it already sounds dumb.
Woodrow
I'm just
Wilson,
saying.
a
You should do
Democrat.
music instead.
No,
I'm gonna
it
be here
wasn't
right now.
Woodrow Wilson.
1940s
Music.
Yes.
No, it wasn't. Woodrow Wilson is the fucking early 1900s.
19...
Dude, is the
1918. 1918.
Israel was made in the
Right.
1940s, dude, right?
It was
After
1918.
It was Truman. It's after World War II, right, Dubster?
Democrat. Truman's a Democrat too, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, but are you talking about like modern? Am I stupid for this?
I'm saying.
Am I dumb for this?
Yes.
I'm trying to understand what's going on here.
Because the Democrats, look, Woodrow Wilson was president during the creation of Israel called the Balfour Declaration. The signing of the Balfour Declaration was the creation of Israel.
The Balfours before Truman was in office. Before
it was Woodrow Wilson. Do you not hear me? Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, okay. So you don't mean like the actual creation of Israel. You mean like the declaration of it.
No, the actual creation of Israel is the Balfour Declaration. The
so
piece of paper is the actual.
Okay.
No, the actual contract is the creation of the fucking land partition.
I didn't know you were speaking over my head like that, man. I didn't get that part. I thought you meant like the actual like, okay, this country exists now. That's what I thought you meant, but you meant like the actual ancillary thing that led to the country existing officially.
Then you go to Truman, Democrat as well, when 47 happened.
Okay, once again, I know, what was it? Republicans were the Union and Democrats were the what are they called? The South guys? Confederates. You can go with that, but then there's like
Democrats.
modern era politics, right? Are you
still
ignoring
doing the same thing they've done?
He's trying to like badger me like I'm the dumb one here. It's just kind of crazy.
You are, dude. You don't see that they do exactly the same thing they've done forever.
I think you're a child on this. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, dude. I'm sorry. I won't lie. I can't lie to you, man. So they'll have to tell you. I think you're a child on these things.
If you knew history, like you're supposed to, you would know this is repeats. This is the same fucking long-term fucking plan, all established way long time ago.
And if I bring up George W. Bush, what are you going to call him?
A puppet of the same fucking shit.
A puppet of
the
Democrats? Oh, wait. He's a his side. Is he a Republican or not? Is George W. Bush a Republican or not?
No.
What the fuck?
See, like, you see what I'm saying? That like you guys hear my logic, right? Where it's like, I can't. What do I do? What do I do?
Look, there is.
I'm looking. I'm looking, man.
There was no such thing as
So
a
who
Republican
voted for
again.
that guy? What party voted for him?
Doesn't he just have like I don't know what he's saying, but doesn't he say the same thing every time? Like I'm not. It just seems like an attention ploy. I'm sorry. So you should just do
If
music.
you ain't listened to me, shut the fuck up, you dumb fucking cunt.
it might be a attention ploy, but
I genuinely think it's an attention ploy. I think it's a lonely person who wants attention.
I'm going
It just
If
might
you
be.
don't
So.
listen to what I'm saying, don't
I
attempt to weigh in
whiff
on
out
it.
certain scenarios. Some seem like an actual point. Some seem like attention. This seems like he's.
I don't really. I
That's fair
haven't
enough.
heard a lot of like real points from this
That's fair
person
enough
in
for
a
you.
very long time. So I don't know.
That's fair enough for you, but for
If
me,
you
this is
have
where
me
I
on
go.
mute, you're not talking to me, you dumb
But,
fucking bitch.
But this seems more believable that he maybe believes a certain idea. It's just, sorry, Dubster. I have to call it what I think it is. I think it's child's play, man. Unfortunate.
Cool, we disagree. I still stand by my fucking point.
You didn't exactly prove that point either, or make it make sense. That's okay too.
Democrats made fucking Israel.
Democrats made Israel, and both parties support Israel.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So I can make the argument that they are in reality both supporting equally Israel.
But we were talking about the idea of like being overt versus like, listen, my constituents
You
will not
were.
allow
I
this.
said in reality.
In
No,
modern day,
you
they have
were.
to actually be
I was
conditional about it.
saying.
Okay, go ahead.
What I was saying was, in reality, they're both supporting Israel the same.
Who's the person that Briahna's talking to?
Contrapoints, a content creator, RedTube style person.
I don't think I'm familiar with them.
I've seen some of their philosophical stuff. It was okay or mediocre or whatever. But now it's like, here's politics, and she is struggling. She's struggling badly. And Briahna's just like, ooh, brunch. Ooh.
Mm.
I need a mimosas with my brunch here after I devour this fucking human being. That's what it looks like to me. But yeah. Maybe work harder on that, Depster, man. Work a little bit harder, man.
Harder at what? The fucking
At
obvious?
thinking. No, at observing yourself, thinking about it, and then trying again, right?
I've observed it, and I agree with me that I am correct on my assessment that the Democrats support as much as the Republicans support
If at first
Israel.
you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again.
I agree. I mean, I'll be fair. I told Dubster this years ago. Like, you'd end up here, man. I'm the only one fucking talking to you, man. But here we are. Let's play. Here we go.
Israel position more pro-Israel.
Yeah, because the fucking Democrats ran like a bunch of bitches
able to get elected
because they're a bunch of
The
bitches.
Democrats,
I know.
pivoting against Israel? Whereas why is this a condition for the Democrats to succeed?
Well,
I feel like what you're saying would make more sense if Jill Stein had gotten like 30% of the vote or something. I'd be like, well, okay, that's you have a point there, but like that's not what happened, right? It's voters are supporting a further right, more pro-Israel candidate. So it's a little bit hard for me to reconcile with the idea that this is the reason why the Democrats can't
They're
get
mad
elected.
because I won't
I think
conform
for
to their
one,
fucking commie
it's
fucking
to punish
bullshit.
Joe
about
Biden,
that?
under
For
whom
them.
this genocide
Maybe there is a human
started,
there.
and under whom to date
not gonna
most of the
conform.
deaths have occurred.
Fuck that.
Most
Neither will
of the,
Mexico.
infrastructural destruction in Gaza has occurred, right? So it cannot go ignored that while you could anticipate that Donald Trump is going to do more of the same, and should have anticipated that Donald Trump was going to do more of the same, that doesn't justify in the eyes of many voters, including voters whose lives and families have been directly implicated by this genocide, voting for the guy who did it. So if I'm standing there, stabbing you,
That's like that.
I don't mean to conjure violence, but if I'm standing there with a can of gas having burned your house down, and I'm like, vote for me and the other guy is going to burn your house down twice. I mean, you can imagine that you as an individual aren't going to want to vote for me. I just burned your house down.
So I can understand the psychology of that for when you're the person whose house is being burned down. But I also sort of don't really see. So I don't understand how like Biden's stance on Israel is being effectively punished by electing someone who's even more pro-Israel.
Well, people are saying you can't win.
Point.
You're not going to be allowed to win under these conditions. If you want to win an election, Democratic Party, you have to move not even to the left, to the center, to where the majority of the country is and the majority of the world is on Israel. Because you understand, Natalie, that like in elections, there's a bunch of people who are always going to be Republicans. There are a bunch of people who are always going to be Democrats, and they're fighting for this center swing group of swing voters.
Yes.
And anti-war sentiments, along with a lot of other sentiments, many of which, frankly, I don't align with, are preponderant among that group, right? And that was a real driving force in the electorate. Among the people that you needed to get to change, Gaza, anti-war. I mean, Trump has been cultivating a sort of anti-war, anti-interventionist personality for a really long time, right? One of the things he bragged about was being a president that started no new wars. Now you can sit here and you can argue with that,
Right.
but like that was something, that was a pitch that
false,
he.
But he did say that, yes.
But that's a pitch that he made. So this is my.
Is she unaware that worked on people? Is Contrapoints the YouTuber with grassroots growth out of nowhere type of personality, or is she unaware that people fell for that? I heard it from people that weren't Trump supporters initially and became quasi-Trump supporters later on. Shout to Opeth. Shout to RSFO. Shout to those guys. Were like quasi, were like, it's like, hey, this guy's better. Like later on, Jimmy Dore is like a major personality, but I mean like me personally, my personal people I talk to on the internet at least, where they started moving in a certain direction. You're telling me people didn't believe in that? They did believe in that. Contrapoints? Are you unaware of that? Maybe put the fucking mimosas down and go walk outside for a little bit. Put a fucking disguise on and go walk amongst regular fucking people. Please.
It's a cross-dresser. It's already in disguise.
Aw. Poor kid. But yeah, just like, please, go find out, like, go in disguise on other Discords and go find out what people are saying out there. How are you unaware of this, dude? That they actually viewed the guy as like a revolutionary, anti-war, anti-deep state, anti-corruption candidate. Like, how can people? That was like obvious that people were doing that to me. Maybe I'm lucky. I got lucky, maybe. Like, I thought it was like patently obvious. I didn't pay attention to fucking politics for all those years. Like, yeah, in my personal opinion, like Kamala ain't fucking winning, dude. It ain't happening. I don't care how many silent majorities are out there. I don't believe it. But somehow this person with all these resources and access to different things and ideas doesn't get that. That's crazy to me. Where it's like, man, is Contrapoints full of shit? Or are they that fucking stupid? That's the question I'm asking myself right now as I'm listening to this. But let's hear more. Here we go.
Point. You say that Trump didn't have to do the things that I'm saying that Biden or Kamala Harris should have done. But he did. And it was a lie. But he did do those things. He presented, he listened to the base and he gave them the message that they want to hear. While
isn't your position also that the Democrats lied?
In what way?
Ways? Well, in terms of like, I mean, you've suggested that the Democrats lied about wanting a ceasefire, or lied about conditioning aid.
It's almost like they wanted Trump to win.
I think they lied less effectively, and I think they lied more minimally. I think when you have one guy lying and saying, I'm going to end the war.
They should lie better.
Well, no, I think that they should tell the truth and cut ties with Israel. But if we're asking who's responsible, who had the power, who the onus was on to actually stop Trump, that clearly was not me or any podcaster or any voter or anybody tweeting on Al Gore's internet, Elon Musk's internet. It was the party who had the and one last point I would make about this is I'm sure you've been following what's going on with this DNC autopsy report. Have you?
This is not fair. This is not fair.
I'm sure people have lives.
I have. Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard that the prevailing theory, which may not be true, but the prevailing theory is that the reason they don't want to, at least the autopsy report, is that it shows exactly what the IMEU study and other studies have shown, which is that the number one issue for Biden 2020 voters that didn't want to vote for Kamala in 2024 and didn't vote for Kamala in 2024 was ending Israel's violence in Gaza at 29%, followed by the economy, 24%, Medicare and Social Security at 12%, immigration at 11%, healthcare at 10%, and on down the line. So if they release that, the idea is, I'm sorry, I want just to put a fine point on it. The idea is that if the Democratic Party acknowledges and releases that they knew that was the case, then suddenly the onus is very clear, right? Who has the responsibility for losing to Trump? is very clear. And the contrast that I think is my mission as a podcaster and a political commentator to demonstrate who the Democratic Party really is and what their priorities really are becomes very obvious to everyone. And I think you do start to get a lot of defections from the party, or at least calls for an enormous overhaul of leadership, et cetera.
Well, so yes, I want them to release the autopsy. I
So
want them to do whatever it takes to get elected.
the thing is, if Contrapoints was, in my opinion, like either more intelligent about this stuff, or if she's full of shit, like more legit about this stuff, you can smell Briahna Joy Gray's like strategical mindset happening in real time. You can see it. She's being a strategist, straight up, which is worthy of criticism. But like, guess what? If you're that level of stupid or full of shit, guess what? Briahna Joy Gray looks like she outflanks you. It'll look that way. On paper, it'll look that way, man. That's unfortunate because I think she's a fucking
me ask.
strategist. But
This autopsy they're talking about, I get what they're saying. Was it released or was it not released?
they're saying that it wasn't released. I don't know exactly.
So
But
how'd
that's
she
not a
come
real
up with the
autopsy in the first
percentage?
place. The IMEU? What was it called? IEMU? Whatever, some fucking study she looked at that I don't know about, honestly. Where of why people
Okay.
didn't vote for Biden in a certain
So a poll.
20, or sorry,
A poll.
didn't vote for Harris. My bad. Didn't vote for Harris in 2024. Yeah, yeah,
So
a
it's-
poll, which is not a real
Okay.
autopsy, right? Not in reality, but
Correct.
I
Okay.
get her. I get the point of calling it that, but
Well, I didn't even know what they were talking about, but I got what she explained.
yeah. Well, that I don't know either, to be fair. But okay. So, but it's just, man, Briahna is going for strategy, or sorry, arguing in the sense of strategy. I want it to be about morals, but it's about strategy right now, unfortunately. But even that outflanks Contrapoints, which is also sad, right? That should not outflank anyone. That's for like the bookworm type mentalities versus like the, hey, something's not right here. Something's wrong. And because it's wrong, I have to work against it because it's wrong. I wish that was the standard, but apparently it's not, which is very sad and hurts my heart a bit. But then again, welcome to Earth. Here we go.
From the party, or at least calls for an enormous overhaul of leadership, et cetera.
What am I doing? I don't
Well,
even know.
yes, I want them to release the autopsy. I want them to do whatever it takes to get elected.
I'll be right
If that
back.
means cutting off all
whatever to get
aid
elected.
to
Yeah,
Israel, then they should
makes
do
sense.
that.
I'll be right
I mean, I
back.
think it probably, in reality, is likely
wouldn't
wrapped up
get
with a bunch of
them
other
elected,
issues,
though.
like the fact that voters are upset about
get them
inflation, or
replaced.
about like vague
Yeah, that was number
concerns
2.
about like maybe my child might encounter a transgender book in school, and the Democrats are supposed to do something
That
about
wasn't
that
on the
question.
list, by the
yeah.
way. That isn't on this IMEU list at the very least. Nothing.
Well, I hope it's not,
Nothing
but, you know.
cultural. Abortion
Yeah.
policy was number 9, and at 9%, and I don't know was 5%. But nothing about transports, nothing about COVID. A lot of issues that I think folks thought were going to be determinative weren't, at least among these Biden 2020 to Harris 2024 voters.
But can you see how it's like a little bit difficult for me to take your criticisms of what you think the Democrats ought to do to get elected when you're simultaneously saying that people should not elect them? Like your position is that
Why?
people should divest from the Democratic Party. So
Yeah,
like, because it's not in your interest for the Democrats to get elected based on your positions, right? You don't want them
Wait,
to
what
win.
do you mean?
Well, you don't want the
No,
Democrats to win, right?
I think in an ideal world, given how hard it's going to be and how hard it already is for so many people, in an ideal world, I mean, I worked for Bernie for this reason. In an
Yes.
ideal world, a social democrat like Bernie Sanders gets elected. We get universal health care, a basic social democrat safety net, free education, and, you know, our little, capitalist kingdom gets to tip along for another 100 years and save a lot of people from immiseration. I think that's what I was working for, along with so many other people in 2020. But what I
But
learned
your
was
current
how
position,
unlikely that
yeah.
is. What I
Your-
learned from
yeah.
experience. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, your current position though is that people should divest from the Democratic Party. Like, isn't this? isn't this sort of an energetic drain at minimum on the enthusiasm that it takes to be able to win
energy, huh?
elections?
Okay.
How so?
Well, if I mean, it seems that you're using your platform to
This is not
encourage
fair.
people to abstain or to vote third party or to sort of in general just give up on the Democrats. Doesn't that, like, my experience is that in 2024 it was very difficult to advocate for
Contra
Kamala
is making
Harris in
sense
public
what she's trying to say
with,
here.
with a leftist audience
Earlier, at
because
least.
of the extreme
Genocide.
push, the
Yeah.
genocide allegations. yes, that you would then be accused
I'll
of.
just sum
Like,
it up.
Genocide allegations. Okay.
I feel like
So what she said
I guess I don't
earlier
see voting as
was
like a symbolic.
that Contra said, so it's kind of hard to consider your point of view when you're saying like they shouldn't be elected, as in the Democrats. Like you have no interest for the Democrats to be elected. Referring to Briahna Joy Gray.
I hear that point in the sense of her arguing strategy with strategy, but on a moral level, you can't make those arguments. It doesn't work. But unfortunately, Briahna is not making a moral argument. She's making a strategical argument. And I think she's doing that to appeal to the strategist mind of Contrapoints, which means it becomes a vicious circle of stupidity versus getting to the actual point. These guys do bad shit. We don't like them because they do bad shit. I hope that's the main point. That's the obvious main point, and that applies to both parties. That's why I can't support either one of them, right? That I hope is Briahna Joy Gray's actual position. These guys suck ass on a moral level, so I can't support them. That's all you need. You're good now. If they say like, "Hey, what about but one guy's worse than the other, right?" Show them the evidence. Be like, "Are they? Are they better? Where?" And keep it moving that direction. It's time for gloves off. It's time for drop the bullshit. Fuck strategy. Let's get fucking real. I hold these morals. I can't support that. Just keep it there and keep it moving. If you don't do it now, there is no fucking bullshit idea of hope doing it later. Just do it now. Build it now. So people know when they approach you, they're like, "Oh, well," if they bring up like, "Well, he killed less kids over here than the other guy did." It's not good enough. Establish it now. Versus trying to like dance with material fucking differences of one's better than the other. Get the fuck out of here. Forgive me. God.
Briahna did point out that like the trans stuff was not on that poll. Like it didn't register, it didn't make the cut.
Okay.
Because that was one of the things that Contra brought up, and she like Briahna was like dunking it on her. Yeah, they don't even care about that anymore.
Well, it was hopefully she used that as a showcase of like how it's a tool and not an actual principle. Right? That'd be the moral lesson
That's
of that,
how Briahna
right?
was doing it. It was like a dunk. Sure. Like you're saying, but in like a dunk form.
Okay. To say I got one on you type of thing. Okay. Pause. That's sad too. Why not make it about morals? Period. As in, hey, Contrapoints, here's your principles. Here's how they betrayed you. Now what? Where it's like an IQ test. Where it's like, here's every principle you claim to care about. Here's it being betrayed. Do you still support you being betrayed? Go ahead. Go ahead, support it in front of everyone. That's what Briahna should do, but fake it till you make it. Or just fake it. There we go.
Yes, that you would then be accused of. Like, I feel like I guess I don't see voting as like a symbolic expression of my like virtuous stance on any particular issue so much as I do like a consequentialist calculation about like what is the actual effect of this, and the actual effect of electing Donald Trump has been disastrous.
Yes, and the act
with hindsight, but if Kamala was in office, you'd have to go through the same fucking autopsy of like, why is it so fucked right now? Or sorry, I would hope you would. Not saying she would. I hope she would. When it comes to Contrapoints, and that's unfortunate. I was like, hey, what if you guys won? Okay, we achieved the goal of winning. What's your results? What is that? Is there an autopsy for that? Like, we won, but it wasn't what we thought it would be. Is that the case? Or is it, hey, man, but Trump would have been worse? Spending years arguing, like Kyle Kalinski's doing right now, like how they would be worse, and the other side would be saying, like, well, this guy would be better. Right? That's what they're doing. Hey, this guy would be better, or this guy would be worse. That's what they're doing. And it's sad to see that fucking, I mean, simpleton, dumb fuck thinking process. And I beg for Briahna to be like, well, it's just wrong. That's why. It's wrong. I don't care if it wins an election, loses an election. It's fucking wrong. But who does that anymore? All right. What's that play? There we go.
Actual effect of voting blue no matter who means that we get more right-wing presidents every time, both on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. And the only way to curb that ratchet effect would be to say, hey, Democrats, you absolutely can get my vote. My vote is absolutely gettable. And it's not because I'm asking for some crazy demand that's going to cause you to lose 3 other votes somewhere else. It's only upside. I have a plan for you, Democrats. Here's how you win. You oppose the genocide, you call it a genocide, and you say you're going to stop funding the genocide and follow American law, the Leahy law, which prohibits me from funding these war crimes to begin with. And you can win. How can you argue against that?
Because people have been making this argument my entire life. I mean, people argue about Ralph Nader in year 2000. Like,
what argument
the argument that by voting third party, there's an opportunity to meaningfully shift the Democrats.
But that wasn't what I just said, right?
To move left. Well, what
I just said is, hey, I'm a Democrat. This is what I was advocating for Democrats. If you want to be me, great. But if you're a Democrat, my argument is to say, and this is what the uncommitted movement was saying, my vote is up on offer. I want to give you my vote. I want to stop Trump. I want to give you my vote. And all you have to do is do this thing, which is going to make you more popular and more electable.
And I can support you.
And the Democrats said, no, I would rather lose.
That's your argument, basically.
Than incur the wrath of my AIPAC donors or whatever else is at the root of our entanglement with Israel as a country. Our military base that is the state of Israel.
That's trash.
But in order for this blackmail message to be effective, doesn't it have to be the case that third party voters are the determining factor in swinging the election, which you've just said that they are not?
Not third party voters. People who decline to vote for Kamala Harris are not third party voters.
Do the protest voters have the leverage to be taking the election hostage in this way?
Well, they quite obviously.
Yeah, they do.
You just showcased that. Didn't she just argue that? Right? Briahna brought up the idea of 50% when it comes to Muslims. 50% voted Trump. The other 50% didn't participate. Just not once again, not saying I follow the polls and all the stats and data and shit like that, but isn't that a swing? And those aren't even third party. I want to lean towards third party voting thing or people, right? So by that she might be full shot. I'll say that. Contrapoint. How are you not hearing that point at all? She just explained it to you pretty blatantly, right?
She could be full of shit, or I mean, if she's not, she already sounds hostage to her own party. If she's not a part of it, then she's a victim of it.
Yeah. Let me reset real fast, but Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, let's apply it. I thought Briahna explained all that. Verbatim explained it on a strategical level, on a voting level, on a data level. It's not my cup of tea personally, but still, that was where she brought it, and she's still it's like I don't know, like denying the idea itself, which is fine, but like don't just say like no, I will contradict you without even like explaining why I'm right and you're wrong. Just like going a direction. That's not good enough. Contrapoints. But all right, here we go.
Our military base that is the state of Israel.
But in order for this like blackmail message to be effective, like doesn't it have to be the case that third-party voters are the determining factor in swinging the election, which you just said that they are not?
Not third-party voters.
Like
people who decline to vote for Kamala Harris are not third-party voters.
Do the protest voters have the leverage to be taking the election hostage in this way?
Well, they quite obviously did, and that's why they don't want to release, arguably, the autopsy report, right? They quite obviously did, and if that becomes... Well, okay, sure. But what's not speculation is that we know that 29% of people who didn't vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, but who did vote for Biden in 2020, said that ending Israel's violence in Gaza was the reason. Right? So if you're the Democrats and you have this option, part of me wants to open one of these books and rifle through, because I remember at some point in, I can't remember if it's Original Sin or on 107 Days. I think it's Original Sin. There was reporting, and there's been ample reporting at this point, 2 years out.
Stop being fancy, smancy, smart. Stop it.
Biden understood. They understood how much this issue was hurting them, and they chose to ignore it. In fact, they chose to double down on it. Right? And I don't understand. Like, at some point, Natalie, I mean, is there anything that Democrats would do that you would say? If Donald Trump, if the 2016 version of Donald Trump were running against the 2024 Donald Trump on the Democratic ticket, would you say that we should vote for 2016 Donald Trump because his first term was better than his second term?
Okay, I mean, so I joke about like how I would vote for Satan to stop Donald Trump. There probably is a line.
What?
I have yet not found it yet of like what like moral depth to which I would stoop to stop Donald Trump.
So what does that mean? And play that out for me. Everyone always asking me to play out my plan.
Why be like she was very blatant with you. Don't be in jest. Like say what you want to say. Points, please. Like she brought up like data, like all this fucking thing she's saying that Briahna's been saying the entire time, by the way. Which gives her room to be like a strategist, by the way. But still, like respond accordingly. Like please, Contrapoints, respond like legitly. Like what's your point of view? Here we go.
I joke about like how I would vote for Satan to stop Donald Trump. There probably is a line. I have yet not found it yet of like what
kind of joke is that?
Depth to which I would stoop to stop Donald Trump.
So what does that mean?
Part,
yeah.
So play that out for me. What are everyone always asking me to play
what is
out
your
my
thinking
plan.
when you
play out the consequences of vote blue no matter who, because you and others, I don't mean to put it all on you, but ask me what the timeline is. I got to this place because I started asking more centrist oriented people what the timeline is for Medicare for all. How long are we supposed to deal with the fact that 68,000 people die every year from a lack of health insurance? What's the timeline on that? And I had people come to me who were Medicare for All activists in the state of California, who were Bernie's Medicare for All czar, and their plans were minimum 20-year time horizons, saying that, well, the argument that was made to me was Gavin Newsom was going to get Medicare for All in the state of California, that he was going to become president, and that he was then going to bring Medicare for All to the entire country. Gavin Newsom doesn't even support Medicare for All anymore, obviously. And the state of California, with its overwhelmingly Democratic legislature, has intentionally scuttled their CalCare program now multiple times.
If he supported it,
just recently,
the party would not support him.
So at a certain point, I mean, let me maybe ask it this way, Natalie. How much do you think that donor influence and corporate interests
actually, I'll one up you, Jesse. If they were actually legit for real, like I believe what I'm saying out loud, they wouldn't make it in those chambers of whatever state politics or federal politics. That's my idea. That's my belief. If you're caught being genuine, you might be on the outs. I actually believe that. I am there. Let's play though. Here we go.
Are determining the policies of the Democratic Party.
Well, they certainly have some effect. I think I maybe don't think they have quite the level of effect that you do, because yes, they have some effect, but they also, like, at the end of the day, do still need to get elected. right? So that I don't think there's an infinite like capacity for corporate influence. Like there's a limit to how far you can push it where people will stop supporting
this
you.
is
I mean,
kind of my
I
point
also
that
think
we
that,
saw that limit with Gaza and they didn't care, right?
like Democrats have tried over the years to like. I mean, Obama came fairly like with the Affordable Care Act, they came fairly close to getting not Medicare for all, but a single payer option.
Well,
It was
Natalie,
fairly close.
but they
being
did,
shot
but
down
they
by
did
Joe
it.
Lieberman.
Briahna's gonna run you the fuck over. Like it's just easy. This is easy work. Like she's either that stupid or that bullshit. Or it's just like obvious. Obama tried, but you know, like come on. Like we know too much about this stuff, right? God, sorry.
The way that she describes the Democrats almost sounds like she doesn't know the difference between like the politicians and the voters. And I think she probably does, but the way she uses the term, it's not like a united thing, right? Like, I mean, that's
It sounds like a kid describing Santa Claus. That's what it sounds like.
yeah.
It's just not there. Now, are you doing that on purpose, or you're just ignorant about the policy of things because it doesn't actually affect your life, right? It's like she's well to do, like she made it, right? So like good for her, right? But doesn't mean you know better for everyone else because you made it, and thus these guys are good because you know, once again, they say certain words, they project themselves as certain things, but when they get elected, whether they vote for, once again, higher gas prices or lower gas prices, it doesn't affect you, Contrapoints, because you're chilling. You made it. You're filthy rich. You made it. Doesn't affect you really. Or healthcare prices doesn't affect you really. And that's a sad way. I hope she's not like that. I hope she's just trying to figure things out, one thing at a time. I really do hope that. I don't know her so well. I hope she's legitly caring. But either way, her ignorance on these things, Brianna's just gonna mop her up. It is what it is. Here we go.
Years to like. I mean, Obama came fairly like with the Affordable Care Act, they came fairly close to getting not Medicare for all, but a single payer option.
Well, Natalie,
it was fairly close.
but they
being
did,
shot
but
down
they
by
did
Joe
it.
Lieberman.
Okay, but like, why is it, Natalie?
Joe Lieberman?
We know how slim the Republicans' margins are right now, right?
Yeah.
And yet they managed to do everything in the world. Why is it that Barack Obama had a supermajority? When we say it was scuttled by Joe Lieberman, we're saying that he was the 60th vote in a supermajority.
Yes.
And why is it that it seems to be the case that Democrats are always 1 or 2 votes shy from doing the thing that
I agree.
75%
That's a
of
good
the
idea to
country
bring
wants
up.
them to do.
Good
But
idea.
Republicans always manage to push through the thing that only 20% of the country wants them to do.
Yeah,
Well,
on
do you
repeat
think
too.
that?
What is that?
I mean, do you really think that like Nancy Pelosi, for example, didn't want single payer? Like, I think that she did.
Yes.
Like, I think.
Oh my god. Oh, fuck my life. Nancy fucking Pelosi. Like, do you really think that she wouldn't want to, do this? Like, yeah, she's full of shit. Are you fucking kidding me? Was that based on Contrapoint? Is it based on like personality? Like, what's it based on? Is it based on like their voting record? It can't be that. So it must be like on vibes, I guess. Listen, I love vibes. I love looking at like intuition, looking at people with vibes. But guess what? Take advantage of every little thing you get your fucking hands on. There's no way you can like look at Nancy Pelosi's record and be like, yeah, she would definitely like vote for this direction or that direction. Like, there's no fucking chance when it comes to single payer healthcare. No fucking chance. Zero. Sorry, it doesn't exist. That's make believe. That's so make believe that I'm like, you're not this stupid, are you? Like, where it's like almost beyond a lie, right? To where it's like, imagine like Contrapoints is like a full shit artist, right? That's too stupid to even like dip down to to even sell that as a PR thing. Where it's like, man, you might actually be that stupid. I actually hope she's that stupid. Honestly, I hope she is. I hope she's that dumb because lying at that level is too much. Oh, do you really think Nancy Pelosi? Like, of course. What the fuck? Are you out of your fucking mind? Have you not seen Nancy Pelosi move policy-wise and PR-wise too? Like, come on. All right, let's apply.
She could easily get a job at CNN, which is very believable.
There's levels of stupid, man. That's some other what she's doing right now is like holy shit. Here we go. Let's apply.
Think that. I mean, do you really think that like Nancy Pelosi, for example, didn't want single payer? Like, I think that she did.
Yes.
Like, I think that this genuinely.
I
was.
don't.
You don't think that she did?
I don't think that Democratic leadership, Nancy Pelosi, whomever, I don't think that Democratic Party leadership wants
this much of a like
single
a darling?
payer. Absolutely.
I don't think that's
a damsel in
by
distress.
Nancy
You're
Pelosi's
that much that direction.
actions in
kidding me?
2010.
How so?
I mean, I would have to. We'd have to fact check this after the fact, but
Did
I
Nancy
seem to recall her
Pelosi
making a
support-
fairly
Think,
strong
woman.
effort
Are you kidding
to achieve
Who
this,
is this
and
person?
eventually needing to create a compromise option in order
Aren't
to
they
get Joe
bred to?
Lieberman
Aren't they
on board.
info guys?
But I think
Like,
that look, I mean, I do think that in the future, like Donald Trump has proved that by acting in a sort of heavy-handed authoritarian fashion, it is possible to do a bunch of stuff that's
Shut
not
that,
popular.
Shut them.
Should the Democrats? Well, I mean, I do consider it a serious defect of the Obama administration that he was so like there was this mindset of like, oh, we need to be bipartisan and we need to constantly reach across the aisle and like, yeah, I hate all of that. Obviously, I think a major lesson
They're so
of the Obama
nice.
administration was we do not go high. Don't do that. Like, and I think that
That's Kyle Kalinske, by the way. Of like, they're too nice. The Democratic Party, they're too nice to the other guys. And that's what she's saying too. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, no, these guys mow down children. They mow down innocent fucking people across the world. They mow them down. Like weeds in your fucking front yard. They mow them down. These are not fluffy fucking playthings, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's like so ignorant where it's like, yo, stop talking about this topic, about these topics in general. Walk away, go do some ayahuasca, and go find out. And after that, like, double check and triple check, please. We're that like lost on these things. These guys mow down innocent fucking people across the world. Oh, they're just so nice. They're too nice. Here we go.
across the aisle and like, yeah, I hate all of that. Obviously, I think a major lesson of the Obama administration was we do not go high. Don't do that. Like, and I think that I think Biden improved on that.
They go
on that
high.
somewhat.
That's from Michelle Obama.
There's room
Quoting
for
her.
still more improvement.
That's what I'm thinking. Are you kidding
Well,
me?
I think Biden like did a number of things that were not, would not have been doable if you needed Republican cooperation. But I think that
Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be contrarian. I just want to know specifically what you're thinking about.
Well, I'm thinking about like Medicaid expansion and infrastructure bill, and it was more aggressive in getting some of these things done than I think Obama was.
So
But like
he was in the infrastructure bill example where he had.
What the fuck do you know about infrastructure? Please, lady, tell us. Tell us. What bridge does your fucking Uber driver cross? Is that it? Get the fuck out of here. It's not even like being like talked about on a practical level. What the fuck is infrastructure? Potholes? Not in your fucking gated community. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are we talking about when it comes to these topics? At best, you're just repeating what these guys have said on their podiums when they're trying to like win office somewhere. Yeah, I really care about like infrastructure and taxes and jobs. It's nothing. It's nonsense. It's nothing in the, like no skin in the game, like talking points. And for some reason, it's apparently working on this lady. But or maybe not. Right? Maybe she's full of shit. But either way, I'm probably almost done with this. I've heard enough personally. But here we go.
Leverage comes right from having the infrastructure projects that Republicans want, and because it was COVID and the country was shut down, and everyone needed the country to get going for capitalism reasons, right? So we took all of that stuff that even Republicans wanted to vote for, bundled it with a bunch of stuff that were Democratic priorities because they were social spending priorities, and then broke those two things apart so that Republicans could get what they wanted without having to do all the Democratic. Like that was the Build Back Better bifurcation dance that even AOC called out, right? Like even AOC, there was that whole rigmarole around how they were going to hold the line and that they weren't going to vote for the one package unless both packages, and then
So
predictably,
I agree with you that
then a play happens.
there's a lot of room for a Democratic administration to be even more aggressive, and I agree that they should.
So why don't they? Why aren't they? What's the because people like me are often accused as being not having a material analysis, of thinking that we're going to win because of vibes. I feel very strongly that I'm doing the opposite. That when you just love Mamdani and love AOC, that's the vibes. I liked what they stood for and what they said, and now that they're in office, it's about asking, analyzing, and as someone who is in the media, pressing them on whether or not they're using the leverage that they have at their disposal to maximize the follow through on their campaign commitments, right? It's not about me loving them. My job is not to love Mamdani as much as he seems like a fun hang. I have nothing personal against any of these people, but I have to raise questions, right? Why does Zohran Mamdani endorse Kathy Hochul prematurely when she hasn't released fundraising, the funding to him that he needs to advance his agenda? Why does he come out and dissuade a challenger to Hakeem Jeffries when Hakeem Jeffries is one of the most vocal Zionists in the entire country? The leader of the Democratic Party bungled Democratic Party redistricting in New York in a way that cost Democrats seats in the House, and also did not support Zohran Mamdani's campaign even after he won the primary. You know, why did he say that he would vote for Hakeem Jeffries to be Speaker of the House prematurely, essentially without getting any concessions? If he has gotten concessions, why won't he be more forthcoming about what he was able to get with his leverage so people like me would leave him alone? Right? These are questions I think it's incumbent on us to ask because we want him to be successful on his campaign promises, not just successful in a person who has a job as a mayor who wants job stability. Right? I'm not invested in his job stability. Once a politician
gets elected, they have to engage with the reality of their situation. They need to cooperate with other people to achieve things.
Cooperate with who?
I don't think an elected politician cannot base all of their behavior around
political one.
Winning the recognition from people who are protest voters and probably didn't support them in the first place.
Did you? What did I? Can you steel man back to me what I wanted Zohran Mamdani to do with Kathy Hochul and why?
I can't. No.
Okay, so I want to be really clear about this. I'll repeat it. I'm not just wanting him to run around saying I'm the biggest Marxist ever, beating his chest and saying free Palestine. That's not my argument. My argument is that he fought for free buses,
she's like the image of
free childcare, a number of policy priorities that were going to require funding from Albany, right? From the governor of the state. So when I raised concerns about him endorsing Kathy Hochul in her reelection bid during an election season when there was her own lieutenant governor was challenging her, a lieutenant governor who came out and endorsed Zohran Mamdani early and who supported Zohran Mamdani's funding when Kathy Hochul was saying she did not agree with his funding priorities. I see that as Zohran Mamdani prematurely giving up leverage for something that he says he wants, which is free buses. I'm with Zohran Mamdani. Let's get those free buses. But how are you going to get them when the governor of your state is saying that she doesn't believe in your policy agenda and frankly also wouldn't even endorse you after you won your primary against an actual predator of Andrew Cuomo, right?
Yes.
So I feel like my ask is extremely pragmatic. How are you using your leverage to get money to do the thing that you say you want to do in New York?
I mean, I don't know the details of this particular situation. That may be a valid criticism for all I know, but it does seem like I don't see it. It's hard for me to see what you're saying as pragmatic when it seems like even the furthest left politicians that get elected in the United States, you sort of are not supporting because you see them as immediately becoming compromised by this hopelessly corrupt system.
Not supporting? What does it mean to support? Is my job to support them or is my job to get them to do my bidding because I'm the voter? I'm the constituent.
Well, did you
they deserve my?
Did you support Zohran Mamdani in the election?
I did, and I had him on the show. I've had him on the show 4 or 5 times before most people even knew what his name was. Right?
Yeah.
I supported him because he was doing things like doing a hunger strike in support of taxi drivers who are being financially immiserated by the cost of their medallions and killing themselves in New York City. But more importantly, I don't support Zoran Mamdani. I support what he ran on. My job is not to support some random 34-year-old man who seems really nice.
Yeah.
My job is to support his agenda. And if he's acting in ways that don't seem to be in furtherance of his agenda, it's my job to ask why at the bare minimum as someone who's ostensibly sort of in the media, in the press.
Well, and it's your right to ask that. But I do feel that like
for real?
This is like
But
we're talking about this kind of feud between people on the very far left of American politics, right? Where I mean, and you can sort of do this. You can do this when it comes to especially something like the mayor of New York City, where it's like, yeah, I mean, New York City is on the far left of the American political spectrum. But when it comes to like a national presidential election, like this type of thing is like, so I don't know, don't you? I see this as like so far on the left end of the spectrum as to like sort of not be relevant to winning like median voters.
this is where you're like, that's why she's wrecked,
What?
actually,
Yeah.
because her idea is pragmatism and practicality. And Briahna Joy Gray's like, yo, it is practical. Here's my reasons why.
Right.
And there's no actual counterpoint to it. So thus, you
No.
look fucking stupid, Contrapoints.
She
Trying
looks
to
very
argue this.
stupid.
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
She has no argument at all. She's nothing.
But to me, that's an IQ test where it's like,
Yeah.
why not just say like, man, I don't know. Never heard that before. Why not do
I
that
know,
instead
you-
of
Better.
hardcore argue in a direction? Why do that? Which is, to me, the sketchy part of it. Maybe it's pride. Maybe it's I have a certain platform and my fans like expect this of me. I'll say fair enough. It's still dishonest, but I understand.
Yeah.
More so than just like I'm just a straight up liar. Like I'm here to like bullshit and sell narratives versus, you know, I'm trying to say like save face, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit different. And actually, that's why I think, as a strategist, that's why Briahna brought up what she brought up, which is like, hey, even on like a strategical level, on a practical level, this makes sense to do this, right? It makes sense to like argue this point of view or go this direction, and they're not doing it. But they're going out of their way to like actually fuck this up, and thus Contrapoints has nowhere to go. There we go.
Well, I feel like the focus on it is like a little bit.
To stay on this for a second, though, Natalie, I think what was frustrating to me, like when I listened to you in
It's not
conversation
fair.
with Joshua Citarella,
And she knows
part
that.
of what's
Briahna
frustrating
knows that.
is there's this caricature of my position, right? There's this caricature of the left's position, which says we just want to beat up on Zoran and AOC, right? Like we just are running on vibes. We're never happy. We don't want
almost
power. We want to
mocking
endlessly
almost right there.
critique
Yes,
power.
she is.
Yeah,
And my view of it is we fought tooth and nail to get these people into power. And when they are in power, we would like them to use it. And I choose not to speak about liberals in this way because I don't know how constructive it is. And so many of them are kind of organically coming around to my position because of what they see the Democratic Party doing and not fighting and not being a resistance party. But I could easily characterize liberals as being exactly what you claim the left is, which is not caring about power, right? Because Zoran and them, they have power, but only caring about kind of abstractly sitting in those seats without actually wielding power. And that to me, it's very frustrating because we should be on the same side, but I think there was this cartoonish caricature and an attempt to drain the substance out of the critique of the left that has us at cross purposes where I don't actually know that you disagree. Like when I outlined the specific critique of Zoran, it doesn't sound like you disagree with it. So is there something else that I'm missing here that's your critique of the left?
Well, so I think when you're critiquing specific things that Mamdani does or that Biden did or that like yes, of course it's within reason to criticize your elected officials, and we all ought to do that. I agree, but I also think that what my frustration with the left is more that when it comes time to actually elect, the energy is so oppositional to like it's very difficult to build the kind of like momentum behind a candidate when it's so much I don't see this problem existing on the right, where like you don't have, I mean, obviously
So
Trump has lost a
fuck
lot of
them.
his,
Over here.
I think, supporters
Fuck
in the
them.
What is
last
she
year.
saying?
But like during the election, they
I don't
showed up
understand
for
what
him
this
and they
person is
formed this
saying
kind
at
of
all.
like
I think
I
I
don't
get.
know.
I get what she's getting at, but then she stops herself. Is she trying to say
I
like people we just
yeah.
can't get behind a candidate? Is that what she's like getting at?
Mm,
I,
Why doesn't the
partially,
left unite?
but I think she
almost.
actually is attracting to the aesthetic of, well, Mamdani is whatever, Muslim, he's Arab,
Uh-huh.
ancestry or whatever the fuck, right? So thus he like it's almost like aesthetic based instead of like, hey, what about
Mm,
the practical? Like, okay, he's in power now. What does he do? And Brown's like, okay, he endorsed this guy. For what reason?
right.
How does that make sense? Contrapoints. And she's like, well,
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's hard to follow her. Okay.
it's
Well, she's
not based
definitely
on
talking about
substance, I
the
don't
left
think.
as something separate from her, right? Like
Right.
she's saying that's an other, even though, but she wants them to come to her side, right? She
To her
doesn't
side.
understand why
Right.
the left
No,
is break.
I
Like,
don't hear that, Jesse. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I don't hear that, man. Because she's
you don't
saying
hear
that
that?
these guys over here
I'm
are
not hearing that.
okay. In a way, she's saying that, but like I'm saying, like she's looking over there and it's like these guys are worse. Now, what's her reasons for worse? That's what I'm saying. Where it's like there is no actual substance to what she's saying. She's not actually saying anything. It really is. Mamdani has a nice haircut. He's darker skinned. It's like it actually is based on ancillary, almost insignificant uh, ideas of, like of how like people behave. It really like really is based on shallow nothingness almost. And Brown's like, well, let me ask you a question. What if this guy, once again, that has the aesthetic of being to the left, but in actual practicality, is he actually that? What about Mamdani? Like anyone, right? From Biden and Harris, right? Are they actually these things? And it's like, no, they're not. Based on evidence, they're not. But ContraPoints will argue that point of view because, well, they look like it. They seem like it. Their vibe is like it versus the actual thing happening in front of your fucking face. That's the disconnect to me that's happening in this conversation, and it's not fair in my opinion. But God,
it's like she's educated by CNN, like type of information. She's like has,
it's based on what?
as far as she describes things, a very limited view, and has only heard like a side of it, right? Like she just said that the right doesn't fight each other, or in some other words, she said that, right? Like they don't argue amongst themselves. She's just, like she sees them as united, which doesn't make any sense. It's like it means she really hasn't ever scrutinized it and just sees it as like a monolith.
Well,
Like
let's take her serious, Jesse. Why
yeah,
for her? Let's take her at face value serious, right? Why is Trump worse on Gaza than Biden is? Answer me that question based on what you heard so far in this video. Why is Biden better on Gaza or Harris is better on Gaza than Trump? What do you have? Like,
I didn't
what's the
actually
answer for that?
hear that.
She said they
I
were
didn't
saying
actually
it.
hear that.
They were talking about that. It's like, what? How does she have that perspective? How?
Well, she has that perspective, but she also
Based on?
has like just putting Trump into it. I know she was joking, and she said she was joking, but that she would vote for Satan
Yes.
over
Yeah.
Trump,
And
even
judge
as a
too.
joke, puts him to the extreme of like anything but that. You know, like it's where you stop using any actual logic to things, right? Like
I understand that.
like
I understand it,
yeah.
but she does have eyes and ears, right? So like, what is she seeing to where it's like, okay, once again, topic like Gaza, which was talked about, right? Why is Biden better on Gaza than Trump? And based on what you've heard her say, what did you pick up from that? Because I'm picking up aesthetics. where it's like, well, these guys are supposed to be worse, almost like that, or the way they look is better than the way that Trump looks. It actually like sounds like that almost to me, as much as like CNN or whatever the fuck, right? Like she's actually like using like those type of, in my opinion, those type of things. If I take her serious on the surface, it's actually in that arena more so than even like there's no policy based shit. It actually is like, well,
Yeah.
Mamdani must be better. Why? Because like it's Mamdani. Look at him. Look at the way he talks, the way he moves, the way he dresses, and the things he says out loud when it comes to when it comes to hey, I'm a Democrat. Hey, I'm left leaning, so thus they're better. It's like an aesthetic rather than like even a semblance of substance. A semblance of it. Like a little crumb of fucking substance. Not even there, apparently. And thus, you are doomed to get fucking destroyed in an argument. You are doomed for that. And that's what's happening right now. I guess I'm watching it. A little bit more than I'm done with this video, honestly. And I'm blasting music because I can. All right, here we go.
And some of this has to do with
It's my life.
wing
Fuck you.
values around loyalty and submission and stuff. And I don't necessarily advocate adopting that, but I do think that.
What?
I mean, you don't even support Kamala Harris during the election. It's not like you say like okay, well, we'll get her elected and then we criticize. It's that when you're not even you don't even want to get her elected, then it's
because
it's
I have so
that's
much
where I
less.
see the criticism as being this like critiquing
And-
power thing.
Okay,
because it's
so-
like
Again, Brianna's problem is like make it about morals. Like Kamala Harris is so outside my personal principles that I cannot support her. Make it like that instead of like strategy. But she's gonna do strategy to try to convince, or maybe debate own Contrapoints, right? Who's once again struggling when it comes to actual political details. She's struggling, which is not hard to do. It's like make it about morals. Like, yeah, I don't know about you, but like I can't support blowing children up, or grandmas or grandpas, or mommies or daddies, or aunties and uncles and brothers and sisters. I can't support blowing them up. That cannot happen. I don't care if it's one of them. It can't happen for me. So thus, I cannot support these guys that will do that, that I believe will do that. That's simple. But morals are apparently an allergic fucking reaction for people in politics. Here we go.
you don't.
Yeah.
You're
So
not.
let's talk about
taking
power.
any
Let's
plausible
talk about
action to get-
leverage.
yeah. Okay.
Do I have more leverage against Kamala Harris before she's
Leverage,
elected
politics,
or
strategy.
when she's president for 4 years?
Well, in the same, I mean, I see what you're saying, like as like a protest voter threat, but I don't know. Do the Democrats take that threat seriously, or is it like is it?
If they're not, then
Because
that's
I
a
feel like
problem, right? She already broke her own fucking
this is
idea.
where I keep getting back
I feel like
to.
I feel like a lot of Democrats feel
Yeah.
that when the protest voters are sort of unwinnable, are sort of like never happy, right? Whereas there are like centrist median voters that are more winnable, right? And that's, I think,
how has that been panning out?
And it tends to be the reaction to losing an election.
thus it
And
comes-
how is
so I
that
don't know.
panning out?
So thus it comes back to you, Contrapoints, of like, well, why aren't you advocating for more outside the box voting or ideas of supporting? It comes back to you again. Like, so I swear to God, if this was a chess game, it's checkmate about 40 minutes ago. It was checkmate already. If it was chess, right? If it was strategy, strictly strategy, it'd be you're wrecked already. So thus, why are you still arguing this direction when it's clear as day this idea of strategy for you this idea of strategy for anyone doesn't work? Doesn't make sense. Let's apply. Here we go.
Whereas there are
Almost
like
done, guys.
centrist median voters that are
Almost.
more winnable, right? And that's, I think, tends
How has
to be
that
the
been
strategy,
panning out?
and it tends to be the reaction to losing an election.
And
right?
how is
So I
that
don't
panning
know.
out? Who are these centrist voters? So this is you're completely right. This is the Democrats' belief. They believe that if they take Liz Cheney, the daughter of the architect of the Iraq War, to
No, that was
Dearborn,
George.
Michigan,
Okay, Dick did nothing
America's
wrong.
largest Muslim population,
Leave Dick
and parade
alone.
her around on the stage, that they are going to find some voter, some Midwestern war-loving voter who is so in love with Liz Cheney, a woman who lost her seat because she wouldn't subscribe to Trumpism, and that's somehow going to gin up votes for her, right? Like you're completely right. The Democrat, but this is where I would disagree with you. This is where I would just modify that a little bit. I don't think that the Democratic Party necessarily believes that there are more voters to be gotten in this like weird, socially liberal, economically conservative middle ground of people that I don't think really, exist in any big numbers. But I do think that they are fundamentally unwilling to go the economic populist route because their donors won't allow it. And you keep asking me, which is a really good question, which is...
Sorry. A little bit more than that, because of, once again, when it comes to like movies, right, and storytelling, suspension of disbelief. Because there's in a way, a quasi or... there's like a sentiment that Democrats are communists and socialists, like we heard before in this same video. Not from the video, but from my Discord. Because of that sentiment, thus it's more believable that these guys might actually do something like that, right? Of a Medicare for all thing or some sort of socialistic program for all of America or whatever the fuck the idea is, right? Because of that, they can't go there. Because if they go there, it might actually get support. And because it might actually get support, they might, like, if you betray it, it'll be so blatant that it's actually hurting the idea of supporting this party in the first place. Same with the other guys, right? Same thing, right? If they went so far in a direction, narrative-wise, that the audience would be like, "Oh my God, they're gonna do this." If they betray it, then it's like, "Oh my God, it's such a harsh betrayal. We will never support you again, whatever personality or maybe party." Right? So thus, the Democrats can't actually go that direction like fully. They'll hint at it, but not actually go there, because that would be devastating for them based on the way they behave. Let's apply. Here we go.
Is the hinting like when they
Sorry?
vote for something that they know won't pass, but when they have like a supermajority, they won't even let it go to vote? Like they're like, no, this is not.
Well, did Obama
Even
announce like, hey guys, a single payer healthcare, I'm announcing it. Did he announce that? No. What he did was he hinted at it, right? And thus there was like, fuck, he might do this. Let's vote for him. But if he outright said, I'll do this, then he will be like, they'll be like, yo, fuck you, bro. You lied to us at some point, right? You'd think. Especially when he has majority of Congress and all that stuff, right? He has super majority. He has a chance to actually do it. And he campaigned on saying this exact thing. So, like, why can't he do it? It would, like, break their brains, probably. So thus, like, make it like a hint of something instead of like an actual thing. All right. The other team, they can get a little bit more blatant, but they'll still lie to their audience or constituents. Like I'm saying, like on a PR level, like right, like a storytelling TV show PR level, they can do certain things over there that they can't do on the other side, and vice versa with other things, right? But here we go.
Populist route because their donors won't allow it. And you keep asking me, which is a really good question, which is why does it seem to be so much easier for Republicans? And I think I would answer that in two ways. One, because Donald Trump is in fact throwing meat to his base. He's saying we're going to go after immigrants. They're the wrong kind of people. He's saying I'm going to be an anti-war candidate. It's a lie, but he's saying all of that stuff. And that's what his base wants to hear. I cannot fathom what the Kamala Harris or Joe Biden equivalent of that was. What did Kamala Harris run on?
It was the exact opposite.
I mean, a lot of the messaging was very pro-democracy.
Democrats are liars. And I think Republicans are.
I mean, I think they were the anti-Trump, which I think
Republicans are
probably
saying narratives.
Evidently, it did not work. I mean, I think it appeals to someone like me who's concerned. Like, who's like deeply bothered by Trump and by January 6th.
Well, it appeals to people who are already going to vote Democrat no matter who.
But it doesn't. It's not. No, it's not a conceivable issue. I agree.
Right. So it's fundamentally
that should probably not be the focus.
It's a waste of it's a waste of everybody's time because the people who that appeals to are gonna vote Democrat no matter what. No matter what. So who do you actually need to get? You need to get me. You need to
Yeah,
get some
but-
Muslims in Dearborn.
But like,
need
are
to get
you
some
gettable? Are you
anti-war-
gettable?
I mean, me personally, it's like I don't think that it's useful
Are
to
you
talk about
gettable?
me because I live in Washington D.C.
But you
because
just said
I am
what
so
about
Are you gettable? But the whole topic at hand was, hey, let's say Gaza, right? They were gettable. That's the point. So thus, I don't know who she's lying to, but she's lying to someone right now. Are you even gettable? You guys are so black-pilled that you won't even understand what we're saying right now. You can't understand strategy right now or understand like how better our politics are versus the other team. Meanwhile, it's like Briahna has been saying like, yeah, say, listen, we're going ceasefire Gaza, no matter what. It is what it is. Netanyahu is doing criminal shit. We're done with that. On and so forth. It is gettable, like on paper, when it comes to maybe the average voter. But she's saying like, oh no, there was no chance with you guys. You guys are so fucking black-pilled, or you're so fucking just want to hate that you can't even hear what we're saying. And it's like, no, she's saying it's gettable, which makes me once again look at Contrapoints, be like, are you a fucking liar? Are you a professional liar? Who are you? What's going on here? What is that action right there? What's that point? What Contrapoints do you get out of this shit over here? What's that? Unfortunate, but needs to be asked. It is what it is. What's up, fucking
You.
bread tube.
right, but
Ew.
I just mean the royal
At
me.
the Vosh trash
What-
can.
what-
Trash
You,
can Vosh.
Who's the royal you?
what she needed to get was the millions of voters that voted for Joe Biden in 2020, that declined to vote for Kamala Harris in 2024, and who said the number one reason they did so was the war in Gaza.
Yeah,
That's what
well,
she needed
again,
to get.
like for I feel that the
Going in
that the
circles now.
2028 primary will decide this. Like,
Oh, it's in the future somewhere.
but I also think that again, just like looking at the
We'll
history,
see.
the history of Democrats losing elections,
hardcore
like
forcing a
usually
direction.
when the Democrats lose a presidential election, the
bordering on
next
lying,
candidate
isn't
is
it?
further to the right
lying, I think.
and not further to the left.
Yes.
Right. And that after 12 years of Reaganism, you got Bill
And why is
Clinton.
that?
After
Why
you
is
know,
that?
when Gore lost in 2000, you got John Kerry. When Bernie Sanders lost in when Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, you got Joe Biden. I mean, why is that? I think it's because the Democrats
she
pivot
fucked
to
up. Said
attracting
Bernie instead.
centrist voters.
Right. And
Right.
and why
And
do
just
we
needy
allow
voters.
them to do that
Right.
when it repeatedly causes them to lose?
But it doesn't cause them to lose. Like Bill Clinton.
Did Hillary
won.
Clinton win?
No, Hillary Clinton didn't win, but Hillary Clinton was coming after 8 years of Obama. That wasn't-
Exactly. And
yeah.
and Bill Clinton won because he
But
was
Biden
coming after
won.
8 years of Reagan. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Like 12 years
a
of
friend of
Reagan,
mine said this
according
once.
to Contrapoints.
I think it was Pete David. It was someone over at Current Affairs who said this to me once. Maybe it was even Nathan.
He
that the candidate that wins every year, they characterize it as the most Jesus-like candidate. I would characterize it as the most like outsider sort of Messiah-y candidate. It's the person who
So
was able to
Okay.
frame themselves as the biggest outsider wins.
I mean,
Right?
Yeah. If
I have said that, and that's where I leave it. I agree. Actually, you know what? Let her finish her point. But it's because of how whoever is in office for whether it's 4 years or 8 years or even 12 years when it comes to a party itself, right? Reagan 8 years, Bush 4 years. Whoever the opposite team is will look like fucking saviors because of how bad they are. But guess what? Whoever's in office will look that bad. So the counter to that will always look good. It's fucking obvious. So what are we talking? But I'll let Briahna finish her point. Then I'm ending this fucking video. Here we go.
I agree that
This
for the last
fucking
like 20 or
marathon.
30 years,
Jesus.
like there is a tendency, there's like an anti-incumbent bias.
Right.
Right. Where
Oh,
like
bias?
people want
Or
a
is it
change,
they
and so they
suck
vote for the
ass?
other
Right.
way.
So the
Duh.
problem is that phenomenon gets confused with the sort of electoral viability of centrism. So Bill Clinton wins doing third way triangulation, basically running as a Republican who is from the South and pretends to be a black person because he's, plays the saxophone or whatever. And that gets interpreted as third way neoliberal triangulation works. And the Democrats have been
Okay.
doing that for the last 40
Well,
years.
Didn't it work?
Well, no, 'cause what we just described
isn't it a
was
bad
that
thing if it
8
works?
years, after 8 years of
Hello?
one, we're going to get the other. That the person who there's a kind of incumbency
Hello?
disadvantage when it's one party has been empowered for a long time, is blamed for everything that's going wrong in the world. And so whoever is on the other side is going to win. Like, we just agreed that that's the case, right? We just agree that that's a phenomenon. And the
It's
problem,
not, I mean, I don't think it's like inevitable, but I think it's a tendency.
it's not necessary. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
but we just both
Yeah.
agreed, did we not, that that's been the case for basically the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So that being said, it feels like what it seems like is the same people who elected Bill Clinton are still advising the Democratic Party. You got James Carville still on TV saying the same things he's been saying since then, no matter how
point.
many times he's been proven wrong, no matter how many times Hillary loses
Wrong
Obama
or
and then Hillary loses
purposely
to
wrong.
Donald Trump. Joe Biden, I would argue, narrowly wins in 2020 largely because of COVID and people's lack of faith that Donald Trump can manage this global crisis. And people feeling really endangered and their health is on the line and they just need someone normal and sensible back in the White House. And then you get a Joe Biden. And then you see how fragile that coalition around Joe Biden was 4 years later.
Okay. So I'll end it there. But that is, it's like on the surface, like she can't even, Contrapoints cannot argue. It's like she doesn't have room to really like go anywhere. She's stuck. And as much as I think she's trying to make arguments in a certain direction, this is not it's a losing, it's uphill, but the hill is like actually like 10,000 square feet up. This is a loss. You can't, there's nothing you could do to like make this make sense of why we should vote for Democrats in the future. It's as bad as people telling me to vote Republican in the future. Alex Jones or whoever, Tucker Carlson or Joe Kent. Oh my God, the midterms, man, vote Republican. There's no winning there for you based on like what you actually mean by things are not going so good. Like based on what you actually mean by that, guess what? You're not getting fixed by changing parties over. You're not. But I will leave it there. There's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree or disagree. Almost 4-hour video. But let it be known, I think Contrapoints is at best a fucking idiot. At best. When it comes to these topics, these political topics, at best she's an idiot. But it could be worse. So let it be known. And also, like, yeah, critique Briahna Joy Gray too, as well, by the way. Critique her as well. She needs to be critiqued as well. She looks like a genius right now compared to Contrapoints. But be critical of everything you say. I would express that very much so. Don't forget to share support. Hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. We're in that Discord right now. And despite what Matt Hunter says, all opinions are welcome. Also, please, well, actually, I have no other videos other than this, so like, or clips or content. So please, if you want to watch the whole video on your own or, on your own time, I will link this video, the Contrapoints, Briahna Joy Gray, Bad Faith Podcast video. I will link that for you to look at on your own. So please do that if you feel like. Most importantly, more than anything else, give this video a thumbs down. Yeah.